a state funeral. There's been an outpouring of love for the singer and actress since her passing yesterday morning. Her niece, Tottie Goldsmith, has told Nine the pair FaceTimed in her final days.
She's been an incredible part of our lives, so it meant so much to get that opportunity, and I know Toby, my uncle, got to say some words to her as well. She was leaving us. This was only day before yesterday, but I could feel that she got it.
The Adelaide Entertainment Centre paid tribute to Olivia last night. The front canopy glowed pink in recognition of her work for cancer awareness, research and treatment. Olivia performed at the venue several times, most recently in 2015. The Retail Association is calling for the return of the Great State Voucher Scheme amid rising cost of living pressures. The program gave consumers discounts on hotel accommodation, tours and dining across SA. Chief Executive Dominique Lamb says it would be a win-win for businesses and consumers.
We know that the Great State vouchers were an incredible hit when it came to attracting more people to South Australia and certainly getting them out and about shopping with our local businesses. It was really about providing incentives for people to come to those locations. So we'd love to see them reintroduced because we know now is an incredibly tough time.
Infectious disease experts say we've seen the worst of the COVID-19 pandemic. Future waves of infections are expected to be smaller and less severe. Evidence suggests the widespread combination of vaccines and natural infection will lessen their effect. Meantime, the COVID Safe app is being scrapped. The Health Minister says it's no longer needed, so we're being encouraged to delete it. Australia's response to foot and mouth disease will be placed under the microscope at an independent inquiry. Lucy Gray is in Canberra.
A Senate committee will assess the adequacy of the nation's response to FMD. The disease was first detected in cattle in Indonesia in early May and then spread to Bali, one of Australia's most popular tourist destinations. The federal government has rolled out tough biosecurity measures at international airports and committed more than $20 million to stop it from entering the country. A report into whether these steps have been up to scratch will be released in October.
Britain is facing more heatwave warnings, with London looking at water restrictions. UK correspondent Brett McLeod.
Temperatures in the next few days are likely to reach the mid-30s, leading to a very rare amber alert for the UK's southeast. While it's not forecast to reach the record of 40 degrees last month, the heat will be over a more prolonged period, prompting fears over health, particularly for the elderly, and a warning transport could be disrupted. With southeast England experiencing its lowest rainfall since records began, millions of Londoners are likely to soon face a ban on using their hoses.
Johnny Depp has signed with Dior to return as the face of their cologne for a seven-figure sum. The 59-year-old first became the face of the men's scent in 2015. Now to 5AA Sport.
New Mitsubishi Triton with 10-year warranty, 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
And it's good morning to Tom Wren.
And a very good morning to you as well, Mel. Let's start with some breaking news. Serena Williams has announced she'll be retiring from tennis at the conclusion of the US Open. The 40-year-old is just one title shy of equalling Margaret Court's record of 24 majors. To football now, and Adelaide will be without forward Josh Rochelle for the rest of the season because of a nagging hip injury. The 19-year-old played 13 games in his first season. Well, GWS wants the AFL to reintroduce a cost of living allowance. It allows clubs in Sydney to pay players more because it's a more expensive city than Melbourne and the rest of the country. Giants chairman Tony Shepherd says it's a battle to retain players and staff.
It would be very helpful if there was some sort of, like we had previously, some sort of cost of living adjustment so that we could at least allow for the significant higher cost of accommodation for both players and staff.
Carlton, meantime, will be without their captain for the last two home and away games after the AFL tribunal upheld the rough conduct charge against Patrick Cripps. West Coast midfielder Tim Kelly also had his one-game ban upheld. And Alex de Minaur has produced a brilliant first-up win at the Toronto Open, beating Denis Shapovalov in straight sets. Fellow Aussie Isla Tomljanovic also had a win on the women's side. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA Forecast.
3 out of 4 people never hear back from interviews. Shouldn't people matter more than that? Zoom Recruitment.
Showers and 15 for your Wednesday, showers tomorrow 16, Friday showers continuing 14. Right now it is 14 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Credit Union SA Bonus Savings Account. Open your account and you could be rewarded with bonus monthly interest. Consider the T's and C's.
6 after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to Wednesday on 5AA Breakfast, a wet Adelaide day it's going to be. We'll get you across the weather with the Bureau in the first 45 minutes of the program. Also coming up today, the CEO of Variety, Mark McGill, will join us before 7 o'clock. Sean Fuster's back on deck. He's taken some time off, but he's back on the courts round and will take us through what the biggest story this week is after 7:30 in the courts. We'll speak to Magda Zabansky about a new dramatic role she's undertaken for after the verdict, a new crime drama that's premiering on Channel 9 a little bit later tonight. And the Lord Mayor of Adelaide, Sandy Verschoor, will join us after 8:30 to talk about a host of things of City Council business, but I think too with an eye toward the elections and the caretaker period that's coming up. Question marks about her future. Is she going to run again? David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, listeners. I'm pretty sure she is. I think she's... I think she said to us, I think we broke the story, didn't we? I can't remember.
She's indicated.
But she hasn't totally emphatically come out and said, you know.
We haven't had the campaign
4 more years.
Yeah, that's right.
Is it 4 years or 3 years?
Great question. Don't know.
Do you vote in council elections?
No.
I don't either. There's a debate as to whether it should be compulsory. Because it's compulsory in New South Wales. I got fined once for not voting.
Oh, that'd hurt. How much was it?
It was like $27. I think it's the lowest fine, as befits that tier of government, the lowest fine possible.
Because I get the argument.
The council I lived in there, I know people are critical of the Adelaide City Council. Indeed, I'm occasionally one of them. But the council I lived in Sydney was so demented they made an entire feature-length documentary about it,
Yeah.
like Art Council, Rats in the
That's
Ranks.
a bit special. If the argument for compulsory voting is we get a better reflection of what the public wants and typically more moderate government, I guess it makes sense. But then you got to draw the line somewhere, don't you? Otherwise, you could apply that argument to making, you know, the parents and friends committee at the local primary school voting compulsory too.
I actually reckon there's a broader discussion around how the Adelaide City Council is structured geographically, like in terms of who the voters are. I don't even know if North Adelaide should be part of it. There's an argument that the North Adelaide voters should actually be moved in a Prospect Council, I think. Because lifestyle-wise, they're probably more... North Adelaide relates more to Prospect than it does to the CBD.
The Central Business District should be its own beast.
Or, conversely, you could say the Adelaide City Council should become bigger and it should run... Like, it should take in Keswick, Wayville, down to Parkside. It should take in Rose Park. It should take in Mile End.
How does it work
It should be like the suburbs that immediately ring the CBD.
How does it work in Sydney and Melbourne? Because one of the unique aspects, obviously, of Adelaide is we don't have those inner city suburbs where you transition from traditional suburb to city because of the parklands. We just don't have that kind of real close to the city suburb equivalent. Are they all captured in Melbourne and Sydney, or is the CBD separate from the rest of the equation?
It's pretty separate. It's pretty
right,
separate.
okay.
I think. But it's because the CBD is so big. But I reckon a good example is how, for years, the western side of the parklands has been treated like a total dust bowl by the City Council. And I reckon the reason for that is that they haven't got a single voter over there. Not like...
That explains it.
Because most of the residents of the City of Adelaide live in the eastern side, like around, you know, Hutt Street and all that. It's changing now because of the high-rises, but historically, all those little streets off Angus Street and Carrington and Halifax, that was almost like the residential side, was certainly the cashed-up residential side of the CBD. Like, you know, 30 years ago, if you lived in the southwestern corner of the city, people would look at you like you must have been on the bones of your backside. But so you've got a situation where the East Parklands has had all this attention, the northern part of the city as well, but the west was sort of like the forgotten wasteland of the parklands,
and it looks like it.
Yeah. Well, there's some new stuff there, but no. Like you look at the eastern side. So much effort and infrastructure and thought has gone into that with all the bike tracks and everything else. But the western side just feels like something you drive through on your way to, the airport.
Yeah. 11 after 6. Let us know. Maybe we've got some City Council listeners primed for election season this morning with thoughts.
It'll be a contest, won't it? Because Rex Patrick's running.
Yeah, absolutely.
He confirmed his candidacy a couple of days ago.
What are your early thoughts, residents and voters? Because you ended up having a massive say in what happens for the rest of us that like to go into the city and use it. 8223 You can text us on the Telstra Storm Outbacker text line.
How many people watched Grease last night? I thought that was really good that
Channel 9.
Yeah, Channel 9 played it. Channel 7 had an ONJ telly movie. I saw Foxtel, the number one most watched movie on Foxtel in Australia yesterday was Grease. I watched a bit of Grease, about 15 minutes of it. Such a weird film. The bit I turned on when Frankie Valli was singing Beauty School Dropout.
Oh, yes.
And I was watching that scene thinking, it actually reminded me of The Big Lebowski. Because there's the scene of all the dancers who are wearing those 1950s hairdryers on their head. It looks like the bowling dream sequence.
Yeah,
The Big Lebowski.
Yeah, it really does. Because it's sort of, it's like it takes you out of the film for a moment. You know, the first time I think I saw Grease was at Star of the Sea Primary School, Catholic primary school.
Oh, really? Lovely little school.
Yeah, terrific school. Absolutely loved it. And the teacher showed it to us. She was a young teacher. And at that point, we were really young. I reckon I would have been in year 2 or 3 or something like that. So really young. And she's talking us through the meanings and, what was the message of the film. And it gets to the final scene with Olivia Newton-John suddenly with a cigarette and wearing the leathers and everything. And as she's talking, it's occurring, she sort of just spoken word says, so in the end, she changes for him. And, I guess she just changed for the worst. It was
Isn't that the nun?
Yeah, the teacher in our class sort of had this moment of realisation watching the movie that this wasn't a traditional Catholic messaging, this one. She went from the pristine virginal girl to the leathers and the cigarette at the end of the film. And we're all sitting there, everyone's singing along and having a good time. And she's really thinking, I don't know if this is a good idea on reflection.
She should have played it in reverse.
Yes.
When she turns back into Sandra D and it was as sweet as pie.
I still remember to this day because I'm thinking, I don't think that went how she expected it to.
No. It's not a very good message for young girls, is it?
No.
The way to get ahead in life is to tart yourself up and start smoking. Start putting out at the drive-in for your boyfriend. It is quite funny, isn't it?
13 after 6, we've got some news headlines coming up for you next.
A lot of shopping centres are the same. Same predictable shops, same food options. But if you want something new, check out Newton Central. Grab a coffee at JD Brew or a bite at Java Lifestyle Coffee and Tea or dine at Delano's Risotto and Pasta Bar. It's the kind of centre where you can get some retail therapy, do the weekly shop or just relax. Want something new in your life? Choose a new local. Choose Newton Central, Gorge Road, Newton.
Meet the LDV T60 Max with 160 kilowatts of power. It's one hell of a ute with one hell of an engine. So if you want a hell of a lot of power, then you're in a hell of a lot of luck. Because the LDV T60 Max 4x4 diesel with 160 kilowatts is one hell of a deal. From just $34,990 for ABN holders. Visit a dealer today. LDV. Bring it on. T's and C's and exclusions at ldvautomotive.com.au.
Who can fix the shower?
Service today.
Who can fix the power?
Service today.
Yes, we can, is what we say. Service today.
Every time you see our bright yellow trucks in your area, we're helping out your neighbours. We can help you too. So for the best plumbing, electrical, heating and cooling work, call Service Today 24/7.
Can you fix the shower? Yes, we can. Can you fix the power? Yes, we can. Yes, we can, is what we say. Service today.
Call 1300 Service.
Hi, I'm Craig Kirkwood from Goldsborough Financial Services. I'm passionate about helping people understand how important life insurance is as part of a long-term financial planning strategy. I've helped many of our clients successfully claim against their policies to help protect their family or business. I can explain the different types of products available to you and the best way to structure your policies. See our website, then come and see us. We're here for your peace of mind. Goldsborough, for all your tomorrows. Goldsborough Financial Services, AFSL number 225330.
Concrete. It's not always dull and grey. At Outback Sleepers, our concrete is stylish and inspiring. Outback sleepers come in a variety of colours and patterns, from plain through to sandstone, rock and slate textures. And they're all designed to last for generations by a company that only manufactures concrete sleepers. If your builder is not using Outback sleepers, you need to be asking why not. Trust the brand Outback Sleepers, sold at over 60 local landscaping and hardware stockists. outbacksleepers.com.au.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Whatever you're saving for, get there quicker with a Credit Union SA bonus savings account. Please consider the T's and C's.
16 minutes after 6. Just an interesting tweet that came through from our public transport correspondent, Stephen Lucas. I'm really interested in how people in Woodside and Nairn feel about this. It's 6:10am, says Stephen, and the first Adelaide Metro buses of the day from Woodside or Nairn are still 50 minutes away. 7am for the first buses of the day in 2022 is pathetic for these major and growing hills towns.
I'm sure Dan Cregan, the member for Cavell, would agree with that.
7am?
What do you do for work? Well, what do you do if you're a nurse or if you're a... Well, if you work in a job like ours, you'd be buggered, wouldn't you?
Well, no one,
unless you had a car, obviously.
Yeah, obviously you have to drive in so many scenarios.
What about people who are doing exams and things like that? If you were studying and you needed to get in at 9 o'clock, bang on time, I suppose.
Call an Uber.
You'd make it if you got an early one, I guess. But it is strange, given how close these places are to the city. Like here to, Osborne is probably as far as Nairn. Here to Nairn. It's crazy.
If you're in the hills, let us know. What do you do when you have to get in early? Because that does seem ludicrous. With you on that, Stephen. Automasters text line 024808 1395. Holy hell, there's a blast from the past. Also went to Star of the Sea. Miss Rumour was the best. Miss Rumour got me into doing public speaking.
Seriously?
First time I did public speaking in my life. The only reason I'm in this line of work would be because of Miss Rumour. Because I got up and did a thing.
Was she one of the sisters or a teacher?
She was a teacher.
Rumour, R-U-M-O.
Yeah. It was the first time I ever stood up in front of the class and did anything. And she went, that was really good. And I thought, oh, that's cool, because I'm no good at art. I'm not good at sport. That feels pretty good.
Did you stand up and say, "Good morning, kids, it's 9:53, I'm Will Goodings"?
No, it wasn't quite like that. It was about speed cameras. It was a chat about speed cameras.
Seriously?
So maybe it was a little bit talk back
like
then.
a debating thing, yes or no. Were they a good thing or not?
I can't remember. I don't remember the substance of it. I'm sure it was thrilling.
That's funny, actually. When I was about 8, I wrote a letter to 60 Minutes about nuclear war, and it got screened on 60 Minutes.
Did it really?
Yeah, I was really excited. And I actually think, in hindsight, that was the moment where I thought, writing stuff, getting your name in the public arena. There's a certain thrilling satisfaction to that. I wonder if people have moments where you've done something. You could have made a breadboard in class and gone, I'm really good at using timber. This is me. I'm a carpenter. What's your eureka moment?
Lucy's put it into words. When was the moment you realised you wanted to do what you did in your career? 8223 or text us on the Automasters text line. Let us know. Let's get into some news headlines in the meantime. Thanks for that texter. They didn't put a name to it. Someone's also said there's no Uber in Nairn either. So you just have to have a car. If you need to get somewhere early in the morning and you're from Nairn, you need to own a car.
It's funny. I imagine quite a few people in Nairn are quite of the organic persuasion and wouldn't particularly love the idea of having a car.
I wouldn't have thought.
Probably be much more public transport oriented if only they had access to some.
The Adelaide Entertainment Centre was lit up in pink last night to pay tribute to Olivia Newton-John, who passed away yesterday. She was 73. Funeral plans are now underway for the iconic Melburnian. Here's Olivia's niece, Toddy Goldsmith, talking on Channel 9 last night with Tracy Grimshaw.
The family has been offered a state funeral.
Yeah.
Will you accept that?
We will, on behalf of not just our family, but I think Australia needs it. She's so loved. And I think our country needs it, so we're going to accept it.
The nation's response to foot and mouth disease is being examined by an independent inquiry. Tighter biosecurity measures have been implemented at airports across the country. Foot and mouth disease was first detected in cattle in Indonesia back in May. Shadow Agriculture Minister David Littleproud believes the federal government has mishandled the situation.
Well, the independence of this is imperative to make sure that this government can learn from their inaction of how they've handled foot and mouth disease, so that there can be a bipartisan approach to making sure that they act better and more decisively in the future.
Europe is in a power struggle to keep the lights on and gas flowing as winter approaches. The price of wholesale gas has been pushed up by 10% in European countries as Russia severely limits its supplies to Germany. Financial Review war correspondent Misha Zelinsky says Ukraine's war with Russia is entering a critical phase.
It may be entering a new phase, and it's important, even though it's in summertime in Europe right now, winter is coming, and the Europeans are very exercised, thinking very carefully about Russian leverage over them in terms of energy exports.
They really put all their eggs in the Russian basket, didn't they, Jimmy?
Completely.
It's crazy.
Completely. Household spending data shows money shelled out in restaurants and cafes and other recreational activities has returned to pre-pandemic levels. Australian Bureau of Statistics figures suggest we've been making up for lost time, with spending on hotels and eating out up 17%, while recreation and culture spending is up 15%. They are all these economic indicators. It's a peculiar situation. We're talking about interest rate rises and inflation nibbling away at the bottom line for businesses and people's home budgets. But all the big economic indicators suggest wonderful things are happening. It's boom times.
The other thing that's been reassuring in the last couple of days is there's been a bit of analysis around saying that and who knows whether this is right or wrong, but there's just been a lot of it singing from the same song sheet. We're not going to have continuing rate increases of the magnitude that we've seen so far.
Seems like it's already taking effect on inflation. So hopefully we'll have that under control and things can return somewhat to normal. 13.8 degrees outside at the moment, which makes us the warmest capital city in Australia right now, outside of Darwin. Wouldn't have thought that driving in, I've got to say, this morning. It's not going to get a hell of a lot warmer, though. 15 the expected top today, but it's going to be wet. And the rain, from my little rain parrot app, suggests in the city it's not going to be too far away. In fact, up to 10 mils, 6 to 10 mils of rain. So we'll at least get a decent amount. Similar tomorrow, 5 to 10 mils of rain and a top of 16. Top of just 14 on Friday with 10 to 15 mils of rain.
Just a question, Will. When you use the newly configured bomb app, so looking at the forecast rain-wise, so tomorrow, right? Here we go. Tomorrow, minimum 9, maximum 16. It says 75% chance of 2 mil, 50% chance of 5 mil, 25% chance of 10 mil. I find having all those figures presented to me confusing. So do you just go, it makes sense to just pick the 75% forecast?
I look at it,
it's the most likely.
I look at the dumbed down version on just the Bureau's plain old fashioned website that just gives you a range. Just says it'll be somewhere between 6 and 10.
Yeah, right.
Which what does that mean expressed as a percentage on that app? What is 6 to 10? What's 6 at?
I don't know.
So 10 was...
I feel like I'm doing a year 10 sum.
So 10 was 25%?
75% chance of 2.
Okay.
50% chance of 5.
Right.
25% chance of 10.
Yeah, I have no idea how they come up with that. Anyway, that's why they're the experts, and we just read out the numbers. We will speak to the Bureau, the experts, very, very shortly. Try and make sense of that, because that is...
Does me head in.
That is... it's less helpful than you might otherwise
one
think.
Number.
Let's talk sport. Tom Wren's in the FIVEAA Breakfast Studio with this new Mitsubishi Triton with 10-year warranty, 10 years cap price servicing in Agostino, Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth. Morning, Rennie.
Morning, Will. Morning, David. Bit of an end of an era, fellas. I'm sure you've heard the news this morning. Serena Williams is set to hang up the racket, although she hasn't said the word retirement. She doesn't like that word, so she's going to evolve, and evolve means retire.
She's going to evolve into someone who doesn't play tennis professionally.
Exactly. And that's going to be at the end of the US Open, it's looking. So that will be it. That gives her one last opportunity. She'll be 41 at the end of next month. To try and equal Margaret Court's Grand Slam record. I think she's been desperate to get that record, but hasn't won a Grand Slam since 2017. She's got 23.
She'd love to knock Margaret off her perch.
I think
it's almost an ideological battle, that one.
That's right. I think she's been desperate, but now
a lot of people would be cheering her on, do as she did.
No doubt. She'll be the sentimental favourite, as she always is at the US Open anyway, but 23 Grand Slam titles. Her first Grand Slam title, her last actually came in 2017 at the Australian Open. She beat her sister, Venus. Her first came in 1999. I mean, it's an extraordinary breadth of time that she's been, the dominant player on the women's tour. 1999, what were you doing then? You and I were still at school, Will.
Year 11, I think.
Year 11, yeah.
I just turned 30. I just moved to Sydney from Canberra. And I was getting ready to cover the Sydney Olympics.
Yeah.
She, who takes the crown now? I think she's been the undisputed best women's sports person on earth for probably the last decade or two. Who takes it?
Any sport?
Any sport?
Oh, that is a really good question. I mean, Iga Swiatek is the Polish player who's won a couple of Grand Slams.
What about Ebony Marinov? Throw her in the mix?
Yeah. Global star? Goodness, maybe a question without notice, or maybe one for the listeners. I'm just trying to think.
Yeah, no, I just want. Well, I think
it's a great question.
I think those questions get really hard to answer when you've had someone who's been the easy answer for so long.
Well, that's it.
And been her.
And look, she's won $94 million in US in terms of prize money. I reckon it would be ×5 what she's made in sponsorship.
Oh my word!
And she'll continue to do so, a bit like Tiger. But you're right in terms of names that are recognisable. Tiger Woods, you go, yep, know him. Even if you know nothing about sports, Serena Williams, yep,
absolutely, no cut through.
No, she's got cut through. Genuine. There's not many. There's a handful in the world, aren't there? That Lewis Hamilton maybe.
Yep.
Has got cut through.
Yep.
There's not too many
I don't
others.
think he's got it because a lot of people don't follow Formula One. I don't follow Formula One.
He almost appeared in the new Top Gun movie. Did you see that story come out yesterday?
Is that right?
He was going to be cast in it, but he couldn't for Formula One related reasons. He was off doing something else. But Tom Cruise wanted him to be in Top Gun Maverick. Lewis Hamilton. He was going to be one of the pilots.
Wanted to be his wingman.
Yeah, I think he did. He wanted him in the cockpit with him. Well, people might have suggestions. If you do, shoot them through to us on the Automasters text line or call in on 8223 0000 because she's an absolute legend of the sports.
Yeah, no, and I think it would be nice to see her win it at the US. I don't think it's going to happen.
Wouldn't it be great?
But
what
if
a way to go out.
Could equal the record, that would be sensational.
So she's 41?
Next month.
Amazing.
It's just incredible.
But just quickly, how crap is this proposed port jumper that Collingwood have come up with?
Shocking.
It's an insult to Port Adelaide. Isn't it?
It's laughable.
The whole thing's getting a bit silly. Though,
It's getting
Jumper
ridiculous.
gate.
Yeah.
But that thing I'm holding up, back page of the Tizer, black prison bars, and instead of white, a teal background. Jeff Brown, he might be a lot of things, but a fashion designer.
Well, I says so. They own the stripes now too, do they, Collingwood? I know
they own colours and shapes.
And shapes.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah, you can use the shape only provided that the colours are changed.
It's a bit embarrassing. Yeah. It's one of those Bush League moments for the AFL.
Oh, totally.
As I think was noted Twitter Port fan Jack Hudson, I think, made the point. You know, in the English Premier League, Liverpool, Manchester United, and Arsenal have all managed to get it with one colour for hundreds of years.
But the intellectual calibre of this debate, it's like you 8 boys going, "Hey, that's my grey nickel scoop. Give it back. You're not using my grey nickel scoop."
I love the AFL, but it feels so regional sometimes, and this is one of those times. Good on you, Rennie.
Thanks, boys.
10-year warranty and 10-year cap price servicing. Agostino, Mitsubishi, Nailsworth, and Elizabeth.
Silence. It's uncomfortable. We start to think. We start to wonder if something's wrong. If we're wrong. In silence, there's doubt. And it's silence that 3 out of 4 job seekers hear after applying for a job. People should matter more than that. Zoom Recruitment. Make people matter.
You want to shut out the wind and rain in winter, or the sun, flies and mozzies in summer, but you don't want to sacrifice your view. Then you need Phantom Screens. For protection from sun, wind and rain all year round, Phantom's SA-made outdoor motorised blinds can span up to 12 metres wide. They offer effortless automation, a blind that's there 1 minute and gone the next. From the hills to the coast and everywhere in between, choose Phantom Screens. Get inspired online at phantomscreens.com.au.
Have your rent and electricity bills gone through the roof? Hot water is one of the most expensive parts of your electricity bill, but EcoVantage could help. If your rent is below $400 per week, your home might qualify for a free EcoVantage heat pump. Ask your landlord to request a free changeover today. Keep your bills down and your landlord gets a free hot water service. Win-win. Hit up your landlord and ask for EcoVantage today. EcoVantage.com.au. T's and C's apply.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Showers and 15 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Your ticket to live mortgage-free in Somerton Park is here, thanks to the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
Olivia Newton-John is set to be farewelled in her hometown of Melbourne with a state funeral. Victorian Premier Daniel Andrews says her family are being offered the service in honour of her work in the entertainment industry and her cancer advocacy. Olivia's niece Tottie Goldsmith has told Nine they will say yes.
We will, on behalf of not just our family, but I think Australia needs it. She's so loved, and I think our country needs it, so we're going to accept it.
Olivia was remembered at the Adelaide Entertainment Centre last night. The front of the venue on Port Road was lit up pink in recognition of her work in raising funds and awareness for breast cancer. Olivia performed at the centre several times over the past 30 years. The state government is being urged to reintroduce the Great State Voucher program to help businesses and consumers in this economic climate. The scheme gave South Australians discounts on accommodation, tours and dining across the state. The Retail Association's Dominique Lamb says it would help many.
There's no better time to introduce this scheme, especially when we have a look at all of the things that are happening at this time to businesses, whether it's increased in wages or superannuation or the cost of fuel. This is exactly what they need. They need customers, they need people spending, and this is a great incentive.
A broken printer is being blamed for passport delays interstate. The printer is at the Australian Passport Office in Melbourne. The latest delay comes after some travellers earlier in the year were forced to wait up to 15 weeks for their documents to be issued. The opposition is seeking answers about Australia's approach to a highly contagious livestock disease. An independent inquiry is beginning today to investigate Labor's response to the threat of foot and mouth. It'll examine the adequacy of the nation's biosecurity measures and preparedness. Shadow Agriculture Minister David Littleproud says it's a necessary measure.
He hasn't administered any of the million vaccines that he's bought in Indonesia. He hasn't banned those coming back from Indonesia from carrying food product. So we're wanting to know exactly where he got his information, how he made the decision, and why he didn't make any decisive moves.
The US House Speaker has shared details of her controversial trip to Taiwan. Nancy Pelosi's diplomatic visit sparked fury in Beijing, who launched unprecedented military action in the region. Taiwan's foreign minister has warned the drills are part of China's broader program plan for the invasion. Ms Pelosi has told US television the trip was worth it and had bipartisan support in the United States.
The people of Taiwan welcomed the visit. The Chinese government may not have. But China will not be allowed to isolate Taiwan.
A popular condiment is in short supply in France. The country is facing a mustard shortage due to the war in Ukraine and heatwave-like conditions in Canada, which supply seeds. The French are the biggest mustard consumers in the world, but for now, they're limited to 1 jar per person. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
10-year warranty and 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Adelaide will be without Josh Rochelle for the rest of the season, with the club putting him in cotton wool to recover from his hip injury. Meantime, Carlton will be without its captain also for the remainder of the home and away season. Eddie Summerfield reports.
Patrick Cripps was unsuccessful at the tribunal, trying to have a 2-game suspension for a high hit on Brisbane's Callum Achee overturned. Carlton argued Cripps' eyes were fixated on the ball leading into the contest that left Achee concussed. A medical report from the Lions showing Achee could miss up to 2 games. The tribunal finding Cripps should have contested the ball differently after approaching its speed and would have seen Achee in his peripheral vision. The Blues will now be without their captain for games against Melbourne and Collingwood, needing to win at least one to assure a finals appearance.
And meantime, Tim Kelly has also been unsuccessful in trying to overturn a 1-match suspension for a sling tackle on Adelaide midfielder Sam Berry. Well, Serena Williams has announced she'll be retiring from tennis at the conclusion of the US Open. The 40-year-old is just 1 title shy of equalling Margaret Court's record of 24 majors. And Paul Gallen will fight both Justin Hodges and Ben Hannant back-to-back on the same night in Brisbane. That's coming up on September the 15th. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
3 out of 4 people never hear back from interviews. Shouldn't people matter more than that? Zoom Recruitment.
Heading for a top of 15 today with showers. Showers tomorrow 16, Friday showers continuing 14 and the same again on Saturday 15. Right now it's 14 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
5AA's Business Lounge with Leith Forrest.
In the business lounge today, we're joined by another happy Arbor Vitae customer, Gary. Morning, Gary.
Morning, how are you?
Very well, thank you. Hey, we all know Arbor Vitae contains the potent natural anti-inflammatory and antioxidant supplements, which provides a whole bunch of benefits. What I want to know with you, Gary, when did you start taking Arbor Vitae and what for?
Over 12 months ago now. Early onset arthritis in my knee. Old football days, getting older. I'm in the forklift game, always on my toes, on my feet, and started taking it and just simply couldn't believe the result.
Am I right? You heard the commercial on the radio and thought, I'll give that a go.
I heard it for some time, but let me tell you, it's Australia's best kept secret. I cannot talk long enough about it because it is just a simple, brilliant product.
You mentioned your work in the forklift game, so clearly high levels of labour involved there. Did you notice the significant benefits after taking the Arbor Vitae?
I couldn't walk. I was hobbling around like a bullfed. I really needed a walking stick, to be honest with you, and I simply wasn't going to do that. So it was two options: do something about it or start taking a supplement of some description. I heard about this on the radio, started taking it, pain went. Just simply went.
So clearly, Gary, you're happy to recommend it.
If you've got any pain at all in your body, give it a go.
Thanks, Gary. For more information or to order, visit arborvitae.com.au or why not give them a call on 1300 879 863. That's 1300 879 863. Always read the label and follow the directions for use. Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Whatever you're saving for, get there quicker with a Credit Union SA bonus savings account. Please consider the T's and C's.
Twenty-three minutes to 7. Lots of good texts coming through on the Automasters text. I'll get to some of those in a moment. You can call us as well, of course, on 8223 0000. We were talking about the moment you realised your career was for you, the very first kernel or whatever it was, the moment that kicked you into what you'd end up doing for life. Like this from Matt Bradley, who owns Instant Lawn in Adelaide, who I've had a bit to do with recently. He's a lovely guy, Matt. Says, I'm 48. Just a few years ago, my mum found a book in her library titled Grass. It was a birthday present in 1978 when I was 5 years old. How about that?
Well,
that's a great case of pinpointing the moment.
It's incredible. Grass sounds like a rollicking read.
Well, Matt's an expert now, so it must have been good.
Good one here from Joe on the Automasters text line about the prison bar carry on. With all this prison bar jumper chat, why don't Port just revert back to their biggest premiership of all, the 2004 jumper? Seems like no one cares about that premiership, only the Sandful ones. Provocative point, Joe. And one here for you from Ed in Golden Grove, Will. It says, in all honesty, Will, you don't love the AFL. You love the product. Like us all, the people who run the AFL, they're another story.
Yeah, I think you might have nailed it, Ed. I think that's well articulated. 048008 1395, that's the Automasters text line number. How about this headline? Did you hear this in 5AA News with Mel just a moment ago?
A popular condiment is in short supply in France. The country is facing a mustard shortage due to the war in Ukraine and heatwave-like conditions in Canada, which supply seeds. The French are the biggest mustard consumers in the world, but for now, they're limited to 1 jar per person.
Mustard rationing in France.
It's amazing.
It's a very specific thing to have to go without.
Well, in France, though.
But not in France, clearly.
Daily consumption, because you think about all of their salads have mustard in them. Like, the thing that makes French salad dressing so good is that it's got Dijon mustard in it. Like, it's salt, pepper, Dijon mustard, vinegar, and oil.
What condiment?
And you can't do it without Dijon mustard.
What condiment would Australians consume the most?
Vegemite.
Tomato sauce?
Well, yeah, good call, actually. Probably tomato sauce.
What would Lucy wants to put it to a vote. What's the condiment you could do without? You couldn't do without? Tomato sauce or Vegemite? I'm trying to work out what the Australian...
That's a tough choice, actually, in our house. Because the kids won't eat sausages without sauce. If we run out of sauce, Kate just looks at me and she goes, no sauce. I'm like, all right, off to Foodland.
8223 0000. Text us on the Automasters text line. Let's get to the bottom of this. What's the Australian equivalent of the French rationing of mustard? Lucy is our...
What do they call it, Lucy? Moutarde.
Our francophile.
Yes. You don't even need me. That was pretty good, David.
Yes.
Oh, how about that?
Moutarde Dijon.
Now, you know Dijon is a major city in France.
Yes.
City
So
of
many
Dijon in the east.
So many of their dishes are cities.
It's made entirely out of mustard. It's amazing.
That's right. So why is there a shortage? I don't get it. No, now I know we all love condiments and people either love or despise Vegemite, but let's make it tough. You've got to pick either Vegemite or sauce.
Yes.
I don't care if you think peanut butter's the top one, which it's not.
Well, I think we've
Vegemite or sauce.
We've
one
nailed
or the
down.
other.
We've nailed down the two definite front runners in Australia.
Totally.
Would be Vegemite or sauce.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so what are you voting for, Luce? What would you say is the one you would not want rationed?
You know what? I love Vegemite, but I could do without it. But
Okay.
sauce you can't do without.
Tomato sauce?
Yeah. So I'm going to vote for sauce. Text us as well.
Okay, well, I'm
Text
a vote.
in or call.
I could do rationing tomato sauce. I could live with, but I need punnets of Vegemite to survive. David,
I'm Vegemite too.
Okay.
I can do without sauce. I quite like other things.
Really?
The only time I ever eat
Sam's a
sauce
Vegemite vote
is hot chips, and I don't eat hot chips that often. And being a total food wanker, I prefer Beerenberg hot chutney as my dipping.
You know what?
mechanism
I'm with you.
for sausage rolls.
Beerenberg tomato chutney, and also their
Beerenberg chutney's wild.
Their relish. I could go for days about Beerenberg, and I can't believe I've just been outvoted 3-1.
Yeah,
on the
well, maybe
Vegemite
3-1
sauce debate.
Vegemite.
Well, we might see. Might see what you might make a late rally with the listeners, Luce.
Yeah, everyone text in by 7 a.m.
You might be the Liz Truss of
7
5AA. It might be, in the room you're struggling to get the numbers, but out in the public you're actually a raging success.
Yeah, so as part of our 7:05 news wrap, we can reveal the results. So you got 20 minutes.
Do you like that obscure UK political reference?
That was terrific. That was a great analogy.
You'll note that I just moved right along because I didn't get it.
I don't think anyone did.
No.
I know about 5 listeners would have got it. People are paying really close attention to the Tory leadership race. Can we just stop and reflect on how good Rob... Well, all our listeners are good, but Rob is in a league of his own. Rob, I think, deserves the moniker of the pun master. We were talking earlier about Matt Bradley from from Instant Lawn Adelaide, and how when we're talking about the moment that you realised that your career was definitely for you, and Matt said that when he was 5, he had a book that he loved called Grass. Rob's texted in relation to that book saying, "Grass, the book, might not be a bestseller, but it grows on you." This is the same Rob who sends in these killer puns and just top shelf dad jokes. But he does it in real time.
Rob is an undiscovered fringe show.
He totally is. I'd pay good money to see Rob.
But all you do
for an hour.
The show is you look at a screen and people, as in their talking, he just texts in jokes and puns and things.
I wonder if he's a fan of the American comedian Steve Wright, because it's got that sort of same droll sort of quality. Have you ever seen Steve Wright?
Yes. Yeah, he would. Maybe inspired by. Maybe it is Steve Wright. Hey, texts on the Automasters text line. Looks like some votes are coming in.
They are coming in, and it is a ding-dong tussle. Quite a few people expressing strong views against Vegemite. Vegemite's vile. Tomato sauce for me. That's from Rob. Kaz in Brompton, she's tomato sauce as well. But then heaps for Vegemite. Izzy is Vegemite. Sauce from Craig, though, in Aberfoyle Park. It's a dead heat.
We'll tally them by 7:05 and we'll try and work out what the condiment Australians can't live without is Vegemite or tomato sauce. The French living without mustard as a result of drought in Canada and war in Ukraine. It's just a lethal combination for mustard fans.
How often would you eat Vegemite? Weekly?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm weekly.
Yeah.
Probably 3 times a week. Two or 3 times a week?
2, I reckon. 2 times a week.
It's a good quick meal, isn't it?
It's great.
Do you go cheese on your toast as well? Or
No.
just the Vegemite?
No, that's too fancy for me.
I'm generally with cheese.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just purely laziness that doesn't get me there. I understand it.
And what about quantity, which is a key question with Vegemite?
No, you and we're diametrically opposed on this. I think lots of butter and a little bit of Vegemite.
I'm lots of butter, lots of Vegemite.
That's why we notice no health program has ever wanted to sponsor the show. It's never been anyone. 5AA Breakfast brought to you by...
Hang on, I've got a memory. One did once, but they weren't happy with the result.
Let's not bring that up. I think I got into a lot of trouble that day. You did. 6 to 7. Let's check traffic and then we'll check back in on the poll results in just a moment. Until your new BMW arrives, Adelaide BMW will help keep your current vehicle fueled. T's and C's apply.
Good morning, boys. Roads working really well today. No great hassles for the drive-in, which is excellent. Simply some road works to look out for. At Woodville, you'll find activity at Woodville Road between Port Road and the railway line. Got a lane closed to that. Does get busy throughout the morning. In the Parklands, Runner Road is closed for 20s Terrace and Kettlewell Terrace. That's for the Illuminate Festival. Busy at the moment. South Road Karata Park with cameras, Doothie Street, Unley and Peacock Road in the city. Don't miss the 40 Wing Sleep event of the year. Get up to 50% off mattresses and up to 30% off furniture, plus free local delivery. Hurry, limited time only. Exclusions and T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
G'day, it's Mark Bickley. When you buy a Leader computer, you're buying a computer made right here in Adelaide. You're dealing with people that live in Adelaide, and when it comes to servicing or support, it all happens here in Adelaide. Not overseas, not interstate. Unlike some others, Leader don't have to send anything off for repair. They take care of everything right here. It makes sense to live life local. Live life Leader. Leader Computers. Find your local dealer at leadersystems.com.au.
At Lendlease Retirement Living, we create places to live well. That's why our retirement villages are designed with your well-being in mind. From friendly neighbours and social activities to surroundings that inspire an active life, you'll discover the joy of belonging to a community that cares. It's more than just somewhere to live. It's a lifestyle that supports you to thrive. retirementbylendlease.com.au. Your place to live well.
In tough times, it's the simple things that make a big difference. Like $15 schnitzel days at the Albion, Birkenhead Tavern and the Excelsior. We know the humble schnitty can't fix all our problems, but we do know it'll put a smile on your dial. $15 schnitty. Mondays, Tuesdays and Wednesdays at the Albion, the Birkenhead Tavern and the Excelsior. Trying to make the world a better place, one schnitty at a time. Gotta start somewhere. You just know it's a Barreau Hotel.
Montine, everybody's talking about Montine.
And everybody's talking about Montine Kia for immediate delivery on selected Kia vehicles. Montine Kia at Cheltenham has secured limited Kia vehicles that can be delivered today. Call 8300 and ask for Matt Broadbent to secure your new Kia today and enjoy the ever-reliable 7-year warranty. And that's why everybody's talking about Montine Kia, for it's their uncanny ability to secure Kia vehicles for immediate delivery.
MVD
182170. A lot of shopping centres are the same. Same predictable shops, same people. But if you want something new, check out Newton Central with Drake's, Barossa Fine Foods, Seafood Works, Target and many more specialty shops. It's the kind of centre where you can get some retail therapy, do the weekly shop or gather all the fine ingredients you need for an impressive family feast. Want something new in your life? Choose a new local. Choose Newton Central, Gorge Road, Newton.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Credit Union SA Bonus Savings Account. Open your account and you could be rewarded with bonus monthly interest. Consider the T's and C's.
12 to 7. It's going to be a wet day in Adelaide. We tried to decipher the percentage probability of varying levels of rainfall and stuffed it up massively about 20 minutes ago. So we're going to hand it over to the expert. Simon Timke, Senior Forecaster at the Bureau, joins us. Morning, Simon.
Good morning, guys.
Hey, Simon, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, and I'm not a Weather Bureau knocker. I reckon you guys have got a tough job, and more often than not, you're pretty close to the mark. But just, with the new BOM app, the way they've changed it to like a 75, 50%, 25% prediction rainfall, what number do you look at to get the closest sense of what you think is going to happen?
Yeah, it is a tricky one. I mean, I guess the 50% value is a good one, and it depends what you're really after. If any sort of rain is going to affect your operations, if you're pouring concrete or something like that today, then I guess you want to look at sort of the probability of any rainfall. But if you can live with a shower or two, then maybe you look at that 50% value, or if you're going to be affected by a big total, then maybe you'd look at the 25% or the 10% value to see what the potential actually is. So sort of hope that by giving a range of values, it sort of suits a multitude of users that way.
Well, I think the concrete pour is a good example because there's a big difference between maybe planning to meet some friends for a 1-hour walk at Belair National Park versus tipping thousands of litres of concrete into a major construction site in the city, isn't there?
Exactly, and for a job like that, it's very sensitive to any rainfall, really, at times, isn't it? So we hope that by giving a range of values, people can use it to suit whatever they're up to that day.
Yeah, good explanation. Thanks, mate. So what are we looking at?
Look, showers on the way. Looking on the radar at the moment, there are showers just moving across Gulf St Vincent, just reaching the western suburbs of Adelaide now. And as that band's moved across Eyre Peninsula, we've picked up 5 millimetres or so at Port Lincoln and Cummins. We're up to sort of 3 or 4 millimetres across KI. So we'll see a little bit of rain develop shortly here in the Adelaide area. It's pretty windy too, like quite a few places in this northeast to northerly airstream getting up to 30 to 40 kilometres per hour. So pretty windy day as well. And with that cloud and the winds, it stopped our temperature getting too low. So a relatively high temperature overnight. We've had a minimum in the city here just a few minutes ago, 13.2 degrees, so not a cold night. Those showers probably mostly clear very late this evening or early tomorrow morning, and then during Thursday we'll end up with a long fine break from the early morning through till mid to late afternoon when we'll see some showers redevelop. So probably some sunshine in this as well. So a pleasant day at times during Thursday. Temperature-wise, expecting only 15 degrees for the maximum today, 16 tomorrow, and then on Friday, those showers that start on Thursday continuing through the weekend as well. So showers for Friday, 14, showers for Saturday, 15, showers for Sunday, 16. So a showery week ahead, but a bit of a break in those showers through through Thursday morning and early afternoon.
Good on you, Simon. Thank you for that. Wet week. Simon Timke, Senior Forecaster at the Bureau. Let's head to SAPOL. Matt Brown joins us. Matt, a drink driver's been arrested after hitting a parked car at Beaumont last night.
That's right. Well, just before 11:30pm last night, police were called to West Terrace in Beaumont after reports of a collision in the street. And the driver, a 34-year-old Beaumont man, whose car had hit a parked car, he wasn't injured, but he refused to comply with a breath test and was arrested and charged with driving under the influence, refusing to comply with a breath analysis and hinder police. So he was issued with an automatic, immediate 12-month loss of licence notice, and he was bailed to appear in court at a later date. So both the cars were damaged and needed to be towed from the area.
And Matt, also another drink driver was caught near Port Pirie.
That's right, David. About 11:30pm last night, patrols were called to Esmond Road in Risdon Park after numerous reports of a silver Ford sedan doing burnouts in the area. The car had crashed into a tree at the end of Esmond Road and continued driving along other streets, but police were able to follow the shredded tyre pieces and marks on the road to where the car had stopped in Moresby Crescent. And the driver, a 22-year-old local man, underwent a breath test and returned a positive reading of .148. So he was reported for drink driving, misuse of a motor vehicle, driving without due care, and a breach of his provisional licence conditions. So he was issued a 6-month immediate loss of licence notice, and his car was impounded for 28 days, and he'll be summoned to appear in court at a later date.
And Matt, PD Judge found a missing person this morning.
That's right, a good news story to finish with. An elderly man with dementia had wandered off from his Hectorville home wearing only pyjamas and was reported missing about 2:30 this morning. And patrols searched the area with the assistance of police dog Judge, who located the man about a half an hour later in Armour Avenue in Hectorville. So the elderly man had suffered a fall and sustained a broken nose and was obviously very cold, and an ambulance was called to take him to the Royal Adelaide Hospital. So police are pleased he was located so quickly, as his condition could have deteriorated in the colder weather this morning. And I did just have one quick story just to mention, if I can, guys.
Sure.
We're also seeking assistance from the public to help locate another missing person, Aberfoyle Park woman Rebecca Rowley, who's last seen in Aberfoyle Park about 2pm yesterday afternoon. We have concerns for her welfare. She's described as being about 165 centimetres tall, slim build with long brown hair, and she's driving a green VX Holden sedan with a registration of WXJ 159, and she may be in the McLaren Vale area. We have put a photo of her in her car on our Facebook page, so if you get on there and check it out, if you're in the McLaren Vale area this morning, keep an eye out.
All right, Matt, hopefully someone will be able to help out with that one. Thank you. Senior Constable Matt Brown from SAPOL. Food Bank SA and Variety, the children's charity, are joining forces to help combat child hunger in South Australia. Mark McGill is the CEO of Variety SA. Mark, good morning to you, mate. What are you guys up to?
Morning, Will. Morning, Dave. Well, it's a fantastic initiative that actually started as a smaller grant request, if you like, from Food Bank, and then with more investigation, and we really worked with Food Bank about the size of the problem. That we've now going to invest $450,000 over the next 3 years into this the Food Bank SA Variety School Lunch Program, which will immediately impact on about 4,000 children to give them lunch, because there's evidence-based children as young as 5 going to school, no recess, no school lunch, and are physically unwell, that they can't concentrate. And one of our great mantras is that we want children to be able to achieve their potential. Now, if you're hungry, the basis of you being able to concentrate goes out the window. So the aspect of providing lunch for these children has a real halo effect right out to crime, in terms of that there's evidence, particularly in regional areas, of children who are committing crimes because they are hungry.
I think if you flipped it around the other way, it's probably evidence that there's probably other problems within the families that aren't giving their kids lunch as well. But
no doubt about it, Dave.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic initiative, and it's really one that we're really proud of, and it's one that it's a significant number. But also, there's 100 schools initially registered, so that gives you the size of the issue. About 50% of the schools are in regional areas, 50% in metro. So we're working with these schools. We're working both, obviously, as I said, metro and regional areas. But the impact that Food Bank have given us from the evidence-based, as I say, 4,000 empty lunch boxes right now that will be filled, and that over the next 3 years we're going to work with Food Bank on that. Again, gather the data. We did a similar program with Food Bank back in 2018 around breakfast, and we established obviously the size of the problem, which then generated external funding. And this is what Variety and Food Bank are trying to do in this instance as well, is that not only solve the immediate problem, but also look at establishing the data, establishing a baseline that you can actually say to external funders that actually here's the size of the problem and we need support. So, yeah, it's a fantastic one. As I say, we're very, very proud. Couldn't have done it, obviously, without the enormous generosity of our supporter base and donors and entrants, and led by our bash crew that take off on Saturday morning.
Yeah, absolutely, Mark. It's wonderful
great
work that you guys do, and it's great to chat with you this morning. Mark McGill, the CEO of Variety SA. We've been speaking with listeners right throughout the morning about the moment they knew their career was for them. Was there a moment that your spark was lit? Were you a kid and was a teacher or something happened? Brad in One Tree Hill's got a story. Morning, Brad.
Yeah, morning, team. First thing though, choose between Vegemite and tomato sauce. Yeah. Well, you can't do that. It's like choosing between your mum and dad. You just can't do it.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough, Brad.
And how I got inspired into my career was a little tacker. Lived in the country. In those days, you could go roaming in the local town dump and find all your treasures and that. And I found an old tin grater and a wheel missing. So I took it home, about a foot long, and I made up a wooden wheel and put on it. And it inspired me to fix things, and I ended up becoming a diesel fitter.
Oh, really, mate?
That's fantastic.
That's terrific.
Good on you, Brad. Thank you. They're lovely stories coming through.
Taking us back to an era when you could go scavenging at the dump.
Oh, yeah.
Now you get in all sorts of trouble if you do that.
But people knew how to do stuff.
I can remember doing that with my cousin Mike.
8223 0000. We'll get to some more stories shortly. You can text us as well on the Automasters text line. 5AA News is coming up, and your last chance right now to send in your votes for either Vegemite or sauce for the quintessential Australian condiment as we contemplate what would be our equivalent of a mustard ban or a mustard rationing scenario that's playing out in France at the moment. The results will be revealed in just a moment.
A train travelling at 100 kilometres per hour needs the length of 2 football ovals to stop. Trains can't stop quickly. You can. Stand back, look up, stay rail safe. A message from the Government of South Australia.
The passing of someone close places unique stress on family and friends. At this time,
Farrell and O'Neill Funerals are here to provide reassurance and peace of mind. Farrell and O'Neill offer creative guidance and advice to tailor a service that best honours your loved one. Whether a large gathering or a small, intimate service, Farrell and O'Neill share their generations of experience in tailoring a unique and meaningful farewell. Proudly SA family owned and operated, because it's personal.
Well, I guess this is it. You know, I see a lot of myself in you. You're strong. You've got great lines. And you're pretty good looking for a veranda. Anyway, don't forget me. I won't forget you.
At My Living Outdoors, our tradespeople take building Adelaide's best pergolas and verandas personally. It's hard not to. When you've been there from the beginning, design and council approval through to construction, we're there all the way. mylivingoutdoors.com.au.
Nobody likes to wait for a new car, so Wavell and Southern Mitsubishi will give you a $50 gift voucher to spend on anything you like while waiting for your new car to arrive. Take a test drive at Wavell and Southern Mitsubishi, driven by Australian Motors. T's and C's apply.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Showers and 15 today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Turn your dreams into reality with the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery. There's more big winners than ever before.
Olivia Newton-John's family will accept the Victorian Government's offer of a state funeral. Isabella Stokowski reports from Melbourne.
Olivia Newton-John's family plan to accept an offer of a state memorial as her niece, Toddy Goldsmith, opens up emotionally about her final days. She says the family knew Olivia was unwell, her death not a shock. It wasn't just her cancer, but other complications. She had been in hospital with a susceptible immune system. Toddy was grateful to say goodbye on FaceTime before Olivia's passing.
The Adelaide Entertainment Centre was lit up pink last night. It was to recognise Olivia Newton-John's contribution to cancer awareness, research and treatment. Olivia last performed at the venue with John Farnham in 2015. The nation's response to foot and mouth disease is being examined by an independent inquiry. Tighter biosecurity measures have been implemented at airports across the country. Foot and mouth was first detected in cattle in Indonesia in May. Shadow Agriculture Minister David Littleproud believes the federal government has mishandled the situation.
Well, the independence of this is imperative to make sure that this government can learn from their inaction of how they've handled foot and mouth disease, so that there can be a bipartisan approach to making sure that they act better and more decisively in the future.
A Queensland family has spent the night in hospital after being found in a remote part of the state's west. Darian Aspinall, her daughter and son, and their 50-year-old grandmother went missing on Sunday during their move from Queensland to South Australia. The father was travelling ahead with their belongings and raised the alarm when they didn't arrive at their meeting point. But late yesterday, police called to say they'd been spotted by a helicopter. A small plane has come down on a busy California freeway. Witnesses say it blew up on impact and burst into flames in Corona. The pilot and passengers managed to escape the burning wreckage. Senior Republicans in the US have leapt to the defence of Donald Trump after the former president's Florida residence was raided by the FBI. Amelia Adams reports.
The search of Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago club was part of a long-running investigation into whether presidential documents were taken from the White House to Florida when Trump left office. The raid sparking warnings from Republicans, some threatening to investigate the Justice Department. The raid sparking warnings from Republicans, some threatening to investigate the Justice Department.
If the FBI can do this to President Donald Trump, they can do it to you.
In response to the raid, Donald Trump posted a campaign-style video on his new social media platform overnight, slamming the Biden administration and teasing to another White House run in 2024.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
New Mitsubishi Triton with 10-year warranty, 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Adelaide Chairman John Olsen has expressed remorse caused by the 2018 pre-season Gold Coast camp. And he's spoken with Rowie and Timmy G and has encouraged any former players and staff to speak up if they have anything else they'd like to discuss.
We know about
Eddie and Josh. Bryce has expressed also some concern, and if there is any other member of staff or player that has been adversely affected by the camp, please call Tim or myself, and we'd be more than happy to open up a discussion and dialogue.
Last night at the AFL Tribunal, Patrick Cripps failed in his bid to have a 2-match suspension for engaging in rough conduct overturned. And Tim Kelly was also unsuccessful in having his 1-match suspension lifted, meaning he'll miss this weekend's Western Derby against Fremantle. Serena Williams has announced she'll be retiring from tennis at the conclusion of the US Open. The 40-year-old is just one title shy of equalling Margaret Court's record of 24 majors. Veteran golfer Cameron Percy has revealed in a radio interview that Aussie golfers Cameron Smith and Mark Leishman will be heading to the Rebel Live Golf Tour. And some sad news in the world of cricket, with former umpire Rudy Kurtzen passing away at the age of 73. Kurtzen was one of the most respected umpires in world cricket. He officiated 128 tests. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Roads working really well today. Shouldn't have too many hassles for the drive in, but some roadworks to keep in mind. You'll find some activity at Woodville. It's on Woodville Road between Port Road and the railway line. Do have a lane closed there throughout the peak, so it does get pretty busy. In the Parklands, Rundle Road is closed between East Terrace and Ketterwood Terrace for the Illuminate Festival. And Brooklyn Park gas connection works there. Henley Beach Road near Airport Road. Busy right now, South Road at Mile End with cameras Adams Road, Trott Park, and Candy Road at O'Halloran Hill. Tomorrow's car is in stock today. Tech drive a Hyundai Tucson Turbo Diesel at your Hyundai dealer and experience innovative tech and all-wheel drive performance. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
3 out of 4 people never hear back from interviews. Shouldn't people matter more than that? Zoom Recruitment.
Showers today, 15. Showers tomorrow, 16. Friday, showers continuing, 14. Right now, it's 13 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Credit Union SA Bonus Savings Account. Open your account and you could be rewarded with bonus monthly interest. Consider the T's and C's.
7 after 7. We've got some all-important poll results for you in a moment. Cast the role of Anthony Green will be our own Lucy Loken. We couldn't entrust a psophologist with something as important and nuanced as a conversation around tomato sauce v Vegemite.
We're getting a lot of very strong support for tomato sauce from Adelaide's northern suburbs, which isn't surprising because if you go back to the 1940s, it's always been a very strong sauce-consuming area.
Convoluted preference deal too. It's going to take some teasing out. Before we get to that, though, Nancy in Broadview's called in. Morning to you, Nancy.
Good morning. How are you going?
Good, thanks, Nancy.
So I'm just ringing in regards to my brother Tom Wren, so your sports guy.
Oh, Nancy.
He is just in regards to the career. It's funny, Tom has played sport forever, but I must have been in about year 10 and this little year 8 came along, being my brother, and it was sports days, and everyone just stopped, and there was Tom on the mic. The teachers had given him the mic, and he was commentating the 100-metre sprint. It was unbelievable. And then I remember, and from that year on, so for the next few years, it was like he had to quickly do his event so it could come back onto the mic and commentate the rest of the day. The teachers were in stitches.
So he'd go full Bruce McAvaney doing it, would he?
Oh, he has always loved Bruce McAvaney, but I'm telling you, he would get that mic and it was just, people just stopped and laughed. Teachers were crying with laughter. And you know how he can usually pronounce the names really, really well? Yeah. These kids, like he was in year 8 and somehow he knew the year 12's names and they were just running down the sprinting. And I tell you, so back then, all the way back then, I guess he had that in him, whereas we just thought, he loved his sport. He always watched games so passionately and hated losing. But and he's got his mate all the way from high school is over in New York, and they'd be up, as you know, half the night talking golf, talking sport. So I guess always had it.
That's great, Nancy. Hey, Nancy, do you get called Rennie too? Because I actually, years ago, I worked with your sister Sarah.
Yes.
Who was Rennie. I knew her as Rennie, and then I came back to Adelaide, met this other guy called Rennie, and I said, I used to work with another journo called Rennie. He goes, yeah, it's my sister.
No, I was more the boring just Nance or Nancy, but no, Tom certainly was Rennie. And then when Sean Wren came into the Crows team, it got a little awkward for a while, so we sort of got Tommy, but he was never really Tommy. And then, he's full-blown Rennie, that's for sure.
That's a lovely story, Nancy. Nice to meet you and chat with you as well. That's
great.
Thank you for calling in.
No problems. Have a fantastic day.
That was awesome. How good. Tommy Red's
That's
sister,
excellent.
spilling the beans on Rennie's, the kernels of his commentary and sporting presentation career. Luce, this will be the pinnacle of your career, no doubt. The poll results are in.
This is the highlight of my entire career.
I
at
can't
27.
imagine anything more worthy will happen to you than announcing the poll.
Downhill from here. All right, we'll go first to the texts and the calls. We had 22 votes for Vegemite and 11 for Sauce.
Oh.
So off the text line, Vegemite steamed ahead.
Oh, hang on.
Now, because Sam and I are the same person, we both accidentally did a Twitter poll each at the 1 minute apart.
Oh, right.
So there were two Twitter polls running. So on my Twitter poll, tomato sauce got up 59% to 41%.
Okay.
And on Sam's Twitter poll, he put up 1 minute earlier, tomato sauce was 52%, Vegemite 48%.
This feels like it'd be subject to a High Court challenge, potentially.
Yeah, it seems like it's pretty even across the board.
Right.
Texters prefer Vegemite.
Yes.
Tweeters prefer tomato sauce.
Okay, there's something in that.
Actually, I should say it's not preference of the two. It's just what can't be rationed.
Exactly.
Yeah. What can't you do without?
So the tweeters do not want tomato sauce rationed, and the texters do not want Vegemite rationed. And Jane with a Y didn't put a text through just yet, but she did make a good point that it's got to be Vegemite because you can't make Vegemite yourself, but you can make tomato sauce yourself.
Oh, that's an excellent point.
So, I mean, we could go full psychological investigation on this.
So do we assume that the tweeters are all sort of, our bourgeois listeners that are out having cooked breakfasts and they don't want to go without sauce and their bacon and eggs, and everyone listening on the text line's making toast at home?
Yeah, possibly.
Do you think that's what it is? Some sort of...
But if you're talking bacon and egg roll, you're talking barbecue sauce, surely.
Yeah, you are. That's true.
Yeah, not tomato sauce with eggs.
Oh, David.
No, can't do that.
We're going to have a
we've
conversation
opened
after the
up
show,
a whole
I
new
think.
flank of argument.
Another poll. Good on you, Luce.
Right. Thanks, Luce. Great work.
12 after 7. We'll get to some of the news stories of the day in a moment.
Leon Biner.
Let's talk to the Australian Republican Movement's Chief Executive, Sandy Bayer.
Well, I think it's really important that our elected representatives do swear allegiance to put Australia and its people first.
Would you like to see us change the Constitution on this?
Yes, absolutely.
9 till 12 weekdays.
Isn't that
That's
the Prime Minister's job, though, to do that?
Well, the Prime Minister has to swear allegiance to the Queen as well.
SSA as Leon Biner. SSA as AA.
Budget car and truck rental make life easy. Whether you need to move equipment, furniture, fresh produce, or people, you'll find the widest variety of vehicles at competitive prices at Budget Car and Truck Rental. With 7 convenient locations across the metro area, plus regional locations, you'll find a budget near you. So if you're moving out or in, taking a load to the tip, or going on a big trip, do it with Budget Car and Truck Rental. Call 13 27 27. That's 13 27 27.
It pays to have a Credit Union SA bonus savings account. As in, it literally pays up to 2.5% per annum interest. Each month you make a deposit of any amount with no withdrawals. Deposit $1 or $1,000. Either way, you can earn up to 2.5% per annum interest each month. Now, the legally stuff. Consider the terms and conditions before applying. Interest rates are subject to change. Save your way. Open a Credit Union SA bonus savings account today.
So you've got a will. That's good. But do you know where it is? Or when it was updated last? Have your circumstances changed? An old or poorly thought out will can leave problems for your family and those you love. And it can be expensive to sort out. Don't let that be your legacy. From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, you can trust Donlan Lawyers to help carry out your wishes. Wills and estate planning? Visit donlanlawyers.com.
How do you know if the milk you're buying is local? Easy. Just look for 3 words. FIVEAA Milk Company. If the bottle you pick up has those 3 words on it, FIVEAA Milk Company, it's guaranteed to be local. It's guaranteed to be fresh too. And the big plus, you're supporting SA dairy farmers, and for that, we're forever grateful. 3 words. FIVEAA Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it.
Patience pays off, especially if you've been holding out for a great deal on a new Volkswagen. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen is now receiving truckloads of new Volkswagens. Yes, they're coming. And they're available at amazing prices. Remember Mawson Lakes Volkswagen for servicing too, with next day servicing and free loan cars. Get a great deal on Volkswagen now. Don't dilly-dally, dawdle or delay. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, just a short drive from the city.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide, for Adelaide. 9 News.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Whatever you're saving for, get there quicker with a Credit Union SA bonus savings account. Please consider the T's and C's.
15 minutes after 7, it was a horrific story yesterday. Details came to light about a 47-year-old man who died on a Plympton footpath waiting for 42 minutes for an ambulance.
We're not talking about the outer suburbs, and even if we were talking about the outer suburbs, it'd still
Wouldn't be good enough there.
But Plympton's 10 minutes from the CBD, and it's 15 minutes from Flinders Medical Centre, and it's probably 20 minutes from the Queen Elizabeth Hospital.
Before we get into the teeth of this story, because we want to tease it out a bit, and you'll hear from all the key players involved in it, want to hear from any listeners that what have your dealings with the ambulance service been in the last couple of months or the last week or two? If it's a good experience, we'd love to hear that. If it was one where you were surprised how long you had to wait, we'd like to hear that. 82230000. We've got $100 pasta deli vouchers to give away. So it's everyone who calls in with a story about the ambulance service. We just want to take the temperature right now. If you're listening and you say, I've used the service recently, and you can say it was good, bad or otherwise, tell us what your story was. Because at the moment, the only stories we hear are like this, and this one is unconscionable. So here's how it played out. The driver, the 47-year-old man, pulled over Monday afternoon, most normal thing in the world, driving along, pulled over and called for an ambulance. 35 minutes after calling, he went into cardiac arrest. There was a bystander that commenced CPR. I mean, God bless that guy.
Yeah.
But then Ambos...
Josh Hamdorf is his name.
Josh Hamdorf. We'll hear from him in a moment. Then the Ambos turned up and were unable to resuscitate him. Here is Leah Watkins from the Ambulance Association.
I've spoken to the paramedic that was first on scene, and they're just incredibly frustrated and heartbroken that these sorts of events are still happening. They're trained and qualified to get to jobs early and save people's lives, and to be delayed and then not be able to do that and to have this outcome is just absolutely incredibly heartbreaking.
Well, the Ambos have pointed the finger at why this happened. They tweeted when this came to light. They said at the same time there were 20 uncovered life-threatening emergencies across Adelaide. They were Opstat white. Ambulance were ramped at all major hospitals, some for greater than 6 hours. This patient was only minutes away from hospital. Ramping deprived this patient of his best chance of survival. Here's the Premier on this.
I, more than anyone, I can assure you, would love to see those results flowing through to the system within the space of 100 days, but clearly that was never going to be the case, and no one suggested it would be, including myself.
And Josh Hamdorf, the man, David, you just mentioned a moment ago, that rendered CPR in the absence of the ambulance turning up. He spoke to 9 News.
I didn't even think twice. I just went and did it and started doing CPR. It was a bit confronting because obviously it's the first time I've ever done it.
How in the hell can this happen?
Well, 2 points I'd quickly make. Firstly, it's reassuring to see that the ambulance union has abandoned its vow of silence that seemed to be quite politically convenient for them. One other thing, though, the Premier also said, and I quote, "I always am loath to talk about these circumstances in high-level public policy terms when we're talking about a young man losing their life." Well, that might be the case now. It wasn't the case during the election.
No.
There were deaths during the election campaign. Labor was all over them like a cheap suit. They just seized on it with both hands and said, here we go, further proof. So this is a you're the government now story.
It's August. So the election was in March. We know these things take time, but I wonder what evidence we've got that anything's gotten better at all.
Plympton. Bugger me. That's a total disgrace that happened. Almost an hour, the poor bloke.
It's unfathomable.
And the poor bloke trying to save him too. He's going to carry that with him forever.
This is third world country stuff. Let's take some calls, get a sense of how our listeners have been interacting with the ambulance service. Jane in Salisbury Heights, good morning.
Hi. I just want to let you know, I called an ambulance about, not last Saturday night before, for my husband at 12:30 in the morning. And the ambulance arrived within 15 minutes, and they were fantastic. And they took us to Lyme McEwen, and we went through ED. We waited about 5 minutes, and then he was seen. So I can't complain. I really can't complain. And although the hospital was chock-a-block, they really did look after him.
Well, that's a good story, Jane. Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jane.
No, that's in all the stories.
Chris, good morning.
Oh, hello.
What was your experience with the ambulance service recently, Chris?
I called an ambulance back in May, end of May.
Yep.
And I reckon they were here within 2 to 3 minutes.
Was it? So it sounds like it was a very dramatic and quite a high-rated emergency situation, Chris.
No, not really.
Oh,
I had
really?
some chest discomfort, and I'd had experience before, and they were on their way to another call, admittedly, and I was in Ashford within half an hour.
That's great news. It's just, there just seems to be this element of luck involved in this equation that there shouldn't be.
Yeah.
What the Chris's experience should be what it always is. Julie in Hyde Park, what was your experience?
It wasn't my experience, it was my sister's experience. She's 73 and has cerebral palsy. Her carer was there to shower her and was transferring her to her wheelchair, and Lynette fell. And she was an hour and a half on the floor of her bathroom in winter waiting for an ambulance. She's in Queen Elizabeth Hospital now. She actually phoned an access cab. She wasn't feeling well and knew something was wrong and couldn't risk waiting for an ambulance. So she called herself an access cab. She's in Queen Elizabeth Hospital now. But just getting off of that, she was severely dehydrated and has bed sores. I just want to make a point. My sister has waited 6 months for a new electric wheelchair, and that's why she has the pressure sores, because the seat of her wheelchair is worn so thin. She's in it all day and is now suffering from pressure sores.
That's awful, Julie, and it's not good enough. Thank you. Let's go to Point Pass. Maureen, good morning.
Good morning. How are you, fellas?
Good, Maureen.
Thanks, Maureen.
Here's a recommendation to come and live in Uganda, one of the best towns in South Australia. I felt chest pains. I was on my own in my farm, and the ambulance guy, he was on top of the silo working his day job. You know, he was here within 20 minutes on my farm.
And you're obviously you got through that all okay, Maureen.
Oh, yes. And I've got another thing for you. Your Tom has got the best diction for people like myself who can't hearing as well as they used to.
Oh, we'll pass it on. In fact, he'll be listening in the newsroom, Maureen. He'll be delighted to hear that.
He has the most pleasant voice, educated, really, really good. I don't like sport at all, but I turn it on at 5:30 to listen to Tom.
Good stuff,
Yeah, that's
Maureen.
good.
Very kind of you to say. You'll be delighted to hear that, Tommy Wren. Craig in Ingle Farm, good morning.
Oh, yeah, g'day, boys. Yeah, I'm only 52, but I had an attack about 5 weeks ago where I thought it was stomach cramp. Unfortunately, delayed it about 16 hours before I ran an ambulance. I was virtually passing out at the time. It turns out it's a perforated bowel.
Oh, mate.
Waited 2 hours for an ambulance, rang them again. I was living by myself. They told me another 3 hours, so that would have been 5 hours, which I was told by then I would have been dead. Everything leaking into my tummy. So my brother rushed me to the hospital and got me there just in the nick of time. And then the public hospital system versus private, I had one stay 5 days in the, I won't say which hospital, but it was the public system, and it was woeful. And then, thank God, I had private health insurance and went to a private hospital for another 5 days, and chalk and cheese, I'll tell you what.
Craig, thank you for that story.
Wow.
I tell you what, amongst the stories that aren't great, one person calling an access cab, Craig's luckily got a brother. You know, if you don't have a support network or help, what happens to you?
Yet equally, though, there's other people who've got some texts along this line too. I rang and one came within 10 minutes.
Yeah, some people having great experience. But that's the thing, it should consistently be a great experience.
Yeah.
This is an important conversation, and all those people that have called in with their stories just then have all got a $100 Pass to Delhi voucher. We appreciate you taking the time to call us this morning, so thank you, and a big thanks to the excellent people at Pass to Delhi, creating truly authentic Italian meals for you to take home to your family. We're going to take some more calls. We're going to keep this conversation going because lots of people want to have their say, and we'll continue it after 7:30. So keep calling through on 8223 0000. We'll turn our attention to sport for just a moment. First, book your service online at North Point Toyota to win the cost back. It is the North Point way, the biggest interview in town, of course. Last night, Timmy G and Rowie caught up with the chairman of the Adelaide Football Club, John Olsen.
What's your understanding of the knowledge of those that were on that board that presided over the 2018 camp? And I speak of Mark, Linda Fellows, Richard Fennell, Kate Ellers and Rod Jamieson.
Well, my investigations have indicated that the board, prior to that camp, were not across, and it wasn't presented to the board, nor was there the sign-off to the board. I've asked for that information, and clearly the board didn't have visibility of the camp and the components of the camp.
Will you listen to your fans? The vast majority that we hear here and in the streets, they want Mark Rasciuto out.
Well, that's not on the agenda. What is on the agenda, and not my sole focus, because we've got a headquarters we're trying to sort out as well, my key focus at this point is in relation to individuals and their experience at the Adelaide Football Club and addressing that going forward. That's my clear focus at this stage.
We now enter our second fortnight of Crows camp coverage.
I found the not on the agenda turn of phrase really interesting, and it was made more interesting by Matt Turner's piece in the Tizer this morning, where he prints the transcript, which is always way more telling than just selectively getting quotes out, because you can tell what the strategy is. But I'll just read you to this 3-question series and the answer. Question 1, why does Mark Rasciuto get to hold his position as football director? That's not on my agenda. My focus is really on the issues of Josh, Eddie and anybody else addressing that at this time. Are you backing Mark in? It's not on the agenda. Then the next question is a long one. External sentiment seems to be that people want Rasciuto gone, essentially. There's a lot on the agenda at the moment. That is not on the agenda. It's such a deliberate choice of words that neither criticises Rasciuto nor backs him in. Because to say, are you backing...
I don't think he's inviting or deliberately sort of dangling Rasciuto's future there.
Are you backing Mark in? That's not on the agenda. That's the quote. That's extraordinary.
The words invite discussions like this.
Because he does not want to be drawn one way or the other. Because I suspect John Olsen, being a plugged-in, intelligent and seasoned operator, knows that supporting Rasciuto at the moment is poison amongst the Crows fan base.
Is it poison among all of them? I don't know. I mean,
the majority. I think it's the majority. Yeah, I think it's the majority. I think, no, they're hardcore that will say,
you know what's funny,
alone,
I mean, we've been critical of some of the things that Ree's said on air and what have you over the years, although I'd also say I think he's a really nice bloke who is totally passionate about the club. You know, it's funny, all the people who want him out, Rue's parting gesture to the Adelaide Football Club might be Isaac Rankin.
Maybe.
So, I mean, I don't think there's anyone else on the board who's spent most of this year quietly in the background trying to pull off the Rankin deal. Pretty sure it wasn't my wife. Pretty sure it wasn't Graham Goodings.
Isn't there a whole football department and list manager that's tasked with that?
Well, I don't know. I just, you know, and as I said, we've potted him. We did the other day about his move on comment.
I'm not making a comment. Well, I'm just saying this is the chairman of the football club speaking to an angered fan base and not taking a position one way or the other, really deliberately. I just think it's absolutely fascinating.
But I would question the word angered. See, I think the Crows fans are all over the place. I actually think more than half of them are going, can we just shut up about this? They're not angered at the club. They're angered at the Victorian media. They're probably angry at the book.
I think there's a lot of anger to go around.
Oh, there's all sorts of anger. But you know what I actually think? There's a whole bunch of fans who want to go and watch North Melbourne get absolutely flogged on Saturday.
Everyone wants that.
Yeah.
Everyone wants that. The disagreement is over the path to get there. And some people say if everyone stops talking about it, it goes away. Others say the only way it goes away is if everyone who's associated with it isn't there. And that's where Mark Rasciuto becomes part of the equation.
To the premise of Rowie's question, So you have a board, and look, I admit, everyone knows my wife's on the board. But boards, you trust your CEO, you trust your coach, you trust your head of football. Hearing at a board meeting, we're going to have a bit of a camp, we'll bring in some corporate psychologists, we're going to try to get the blokes more focused and motivated after what happened in the grand final. That's the least remarkable thing in the world.
I
so
think
you don't micromanage it to the point where everyone on the board says, okay, we need to hear about every single bit of training that's going to happen at this camp.
I don't think there's an intelligent argument to be made that other board members. The reason Mark Roger's in the gun...
Okay, we'll tell that to Stephen Rowe. I mean, there's plenty of people who go, no, sack them all, sack them all.
I don't agree
We just
with
got
that.
a text before about that. I mean, it makes as much sense as saying Rowe should have been sacked by that the Nova board should be sacked every time a broadcaster says something stupid.
I think it's a long bow to draw.
Anyway, but I think where the story's at now, overwhelmingly, more than half the Crows fan base is saying, just shut up about it.
Yeah, but I think there's a large group of people that go, it was impossible to shut up about, because every time it comes up, the question's going to be, there's still people there that were involved in the decision-making process.
Yeah, well, they've got every right to make that.
All right, let's check traffic and we'll head to news. Until your new BMW arrives, Adelaide BMW will help keep your current vehicle fueled. T's and C's apply.
At Rosewater, reports of a smash on Grey Terrace near Grand Junction Road. At Woodville, you'll find construction works there. Woodville Road between Port Road and the railway line. Do have a lane closed, and that does get pretty busy throughout the morning. And in the Parklands, Rundle Road is closed between East Terrace and Kettleville Terrace. That's for the Eliminate Festival. Busy South Road at Karratha Park, also Churchill Road north at Cavan, with cameras today, Barramundi Drive, Hallett Cove, and Candy Road at O'Halloran Hill. Amplify Premium Fuels, clean and protect your engine so you can go further with every tank. Powering our way of life, Ampol, Australia's own. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Showers and 15 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Your ticket to live mortgage-free in Somerton Park is here, thanks to the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
We'll need our raincoats today with showers already falling across some suburbs. Simon Timke from the Weather Bureau has told David and Will up to 10 millimetres has been forecast.
Quite a few places in this northerly airstream getting up to 30 to 40 kilometres per hour, so pretty windy day as well.
A parked car has been hit by an alleged drink driver at Beaumont. Just before 11:30 last night, police were called to a collision in West Terrace. Senior Constable Matt Brown says the driver, a 34-year-old Beaumont man, wasn't injured in the crash.
But he refused to comply with the breath test and was arrested and charged with driving under the influence, refusing to comply with the breath analysis and hinder police.
He's lost his licence for 12 months and will face court at a later date. Olivia Newton-John's family say they'll accept the Victorian government's offer of a state funeral. There's been an outpouring of love for the singer and actress since her passing yesterday morning. Her niece, Toddy Goldsmith, has told Nine the pair FaceTimed in her final days.
She's been an incredible part of our lives, so it meant so much to get that opportunity, and I know Toby, my uncle, got to say some words to her as well. She was leaving us. This was only day before yesterday, but I could feel that she got it.
Australia is deeply concerned about China's ongoing military drills near Taiwan. Beijing has escalated its action after US Speaker Nancy Pelosi visited the independent island state. China believes it controls Taiwan and there are fears it's preparing to invade. Acting Prime Minister Richard Marles has told Today calm must prevail.
What we need to see is a de-escalation of tensions in the region, and that's what we've been calling for. Obviously, that's what's in Australia's interest, but to be honest, that's what's in the global interest, and I think the world would breathe a sigh of relief if we saw a return to more peaceful, normal activity around the Taiwan Strait.
Australia's response to foot and mouth disease will be placed under the microscope at an independent inquiry. Lucy Gray is in Canberra.
A Senate committee will assess the adequacy of the nation's response to FMD. The disease was first detected in cattle in Indonesia in early May and then spread to Bali, one of Australia's most popular tourist destinations. The federal government has rolled out tough biosecurity measures at international airports and committed more than $20 million to stop it from entering the country. A report into whether these steps have been up to scratch will be released in October.
Lance Armstrong has tied the knot with his longtime girlfriend in France. It's the disgraced cyclist's second marriage. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
10-year warranty and 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
It's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. There's reports this morning that Australian golfer Cameron Smith has signed with the Rebel Live Tour. The contract is said to be worth $100 million. There is yet to be an official announcement from Live Golf or the PGA Tour, where the FedEx Cup playoffs are set to get underway this week. Let's go to tennis. Serena Williams has announced her plans for retirement. Craig Gabriel reports.
In an article for Vogue, Williams announced that it's time to hang up the rackets and the US Open will be her last event. Williams says her decision has been greatly prompted by her daughter Olympia, who turns 5 next month. Olympia has been telling her mother that she wants to be a big sister to a sister. Serena turns 41 in late September, and as much as she'd like to try and get that last major to equal Margaret Court's record of 24, she says something's got to give.
To football now. Adelaide's Josh Rochelli's year is over after he re-injured his hip in Sunday's Sandford clash. Luke Brown will also miss the remainder of the season due to a lingering knee injury. Meantime, Port Adelaide's players will hit the track later this morning for their main session of the week. Forward Orazio Fantasia set to push his claims for the final 2 games of the season, but Tom Cleary has been ruled out for the rest of the year with a knee injury. And a big blow for Carlton, with captain Patrick Cripps failing to overturn a 2-match ban for engaging in rough conduct, meaning he'll miss the final home and away matches against Melbourne and Collingwood. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
At Rosewater, reports of a smash on Grey Terrace near Grand Junction Road. At Woodville, fire construction works there. Woodville Road between Port Road and the railway line. Do have a lane closed, and that does get pretty busy throughout the morning. And in the Parklands, Rundle Road is closed between East Terrace and Kettleville Terrace. That's for the Eliminate Festival. Busy South Road at Karratha Park. Also Churchill Road north at Cavan, with cameras today. Barramundi Drive, Hallett Cove, and Candy Road at O'Halloran Hill. Amplify Premium Fuels, clean and protect your engine so you can go further with every tank. Powering our way of life, Ampol, Australia's own. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA weather.
3 out of 4 people never hear back from interviews. Shouldn't people matter more than that? Zoom Recruitment.
15 is the forecast top today with showers. Showers tomorrow 16, showers continuing Friday 14. Right now it's 12 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Gliderol has manufactured and installed garage doors in SA since 1974, and their commitment to quality is as strong as ever. So if it's time for a new look for your house or time to upgrade, why not now? Order a new roller door, sectional door or customer designer door with operator by December 30th and you'll receive a free premium operator upgrade and 2 bonus handsets. For a free measure and quote and helpful advice, search Gliderol today. Retail customers only, T's and C's apply.
G'day, Tom Wren here. Greyhounds love to run, and Greyhound fans love Thursday nights at Angle Park. For top greyhound racing, a great family atmosphere and the amazing food, Chase's Restaurant is offering a full a la carte menu to ensure you have a fantastic night out. Chips, wedges, through to classics like burgers, fish and chips, schnitties and steaks. Yum! Grab the whole family and get to the park to watch those dogs go. Every Thursday night at Angle Park Greyhounds.
Now, Will, I have a serious question for you, and I think I know what the answer is. Do you sing in the shower?
Famous for my singing, David.
That's right. So you got your fringe show.
Exactly right. That's
Well,
all
look,
I do.
EcoVantage, they've got something to get show tunes in particular. I'll start that again. EcoVantage. They've got something to get anyone singing in the shower. Thanks to federal and SA government incentives, EcoVantage could install your energy-efficient heat pump and save you thousands.
I tell you what, with all the money you'd save on EcoVantage, it would make me into a singer, David.
Oh, yeah.
That's how good they are.
Yeah.
Saving money, saving the environment, it could be for as little as no cost to you. You'd be silly not to. Electric hot water systems, they make up about 40% of our home power bills every year, but EcoVantage can pump this right down.
So for little to no out-of-pocket cost, and we know all about this because we've met the guys and they know what they're talking about, EcoVantage can swap your hot water system for an energy-efficient heat pump that uses about 80% less power. It's better for the environment and it's better for your power bills.
Pump your power bills down with EcoVantage. Head to ecovantage.com.au to find out how you could take advantage of government incentives today. T's and C's apply.
You're the generation that stopped wars and started revolutions, so you're hardly going to start compromising now. Welcome to Bloom at Glenside. Exclusive community living, where sustainability and luxury go hand in hand. Access to a swimming pool, pavilion, gym and more. Surrounded by parklands and walking trails on the fringe of the city. Prestige Apartments for discerning boomers. Register now at bloomglenside.com.au.
Life-changing moments can happen in many ways. Purchase a ticket in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery and you could be our next winner. The $3 million grand prize in Somerton Park comes fully furnished and is just one of thousands of prizes to be won. Every ticket sold creates a better future for all South Australians by supporting our healthcare heroes. Join the fight and get yours at homelottery.com.au. Licence M14227.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Breakfast on 5AA, David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Whatever you're saving for, get there quicker with a Credit Union SA bonus savings account. Please consider the T's and C's.
20 minutes to 8, he's back on deck, back in the studio, back in good health and back breaking stories. He's the best in the business, Sean Fuster, and it's time to go round the courts thanks to Crime Stoppers SA and Police Credit Union, supporting better communities. crimestoppersa.com.au. Sean, good morning to you.
Look, I'd say good morning, but you boys have just reminded me that there's a 7:30 in the morning as well, and I'd actually forgotten that over the past 6 weeks, so thanks so much for that renewed vigour and knowledge that I have to get up early and do things.
But you were away for so long, Sean, our listeners were about to put out a missing persons report on you because people
They're going to put your face on a milk carton like they do in the States.
They didn't believe us when we said you were just having a break. People were like, all right, this is getting beyond the pale.
Well, look, you guys had your 2-week break, and it just so happened that my 4-week break, my long-awaited 4-week break, started as your 2-week break finished. So, we missed each other for 6 weeks. But thank you, listeners. I missed all of you as well. And thanks to all the listeners who came out last night to the Alma Tavern for City of Norwood and Payneham and St Peters Raising the Bar event to support myself and Daniel as we did a live show for Just Lawful.
Yeah, right.
Sell-out
Excellent.
crowd. It was fantastic.
Awesome. Great stuff. Hey, you're back and hit the ground running because this is a fascinating question this morning. How do you face a life sentence for hurting someone that you've never met?
Isn't it amazing to think that the world and the law have progressed to points where they don't match anymore? This is the situation where we go into the case of Cameron Robert Bowen. Now, Cameron Robert Bowen is accused of some pretty awful crimes against children, which we're not going to go into the sordid details of because it's us, we don't do that. But the allegation here is that all of Bowen's victims are interstate. None of them are here in Adelaide. Yet he's been allegedly offending from his home in Salisbury using Instagram, multiple different accounts, pretending he's a woman to get these kids to, do things online. Up until now, that's a particular charge. That's, grooming. We're familiar with that from all the way back to the tragedy of Carly Ryan back in the early 2000s. What the Australian Federal Police have done here, though, is unprecedented. They've charged Bowen with maintaining an unlawful sexual relationship with a child. That's the same charge that Grace Tame's case was built on. This idea that you have been so consistently abusing a child over a period of time that you deserve a life sentence. Now again, Bowen's never met these kids. Bowen's never had physical interaction with these kids. But the AFP are saying what you've done online, all of your approaches are so consistent, persistent, grotesque that it meets the legal test for face-to-face abuse, effectively. So you should face a life sentence like anybody else that does this.
Have there been any cases yet that have hinged on this very issue, Sean, that provide any kind of precedent, or is this like new territory that we're going into?
None at all. This is absolutely brand new territory, but it's built on an existing concept. So if you're in Australia and you do this to children overseas, you face a life sentence. That already exists. That's there. But there's no law within Australia that says if you do it across borders, you face the same level of punishment. So the Commonwealth Director of Public Prosecutions and the South Australian Director of Public Prosecutions have put their heads together and said, well, look, if there's no law specifically for that offence, we're going to take a law and make it fit this. If the law won't catch up to the technology, we'll force it to. Which is a fantastic idea.
It is, but what's the prospect for success? Or is this the kind of thing that inevitably gets kicked up to a higher court? Like, can that be decided at the normal level?
Normally, I would say to you, yeah, this is going to be something that's going to be really controversial, really unique and different. The High Court's going to have to rule on this. But Bowen's lawyers have said, we are prepared as part of a plea bargain to cop to it. Our client will plead guilty. Now, if that holds when he next appears in court next month, you're going to have the precedent set immediately
that you can actually face a maximum life sentence for hurting a child that you have never met in person, which, when you think about the way the world works these days and what we're afraid of as parents, that's spot on the way it should be.
Yeah, totally.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
The law needs to be malleable enough to keep up.
Well, it's just, see, having the law and having the law applied are two very different things.
Well, that's right. I mean, let's face it, it's not going to be a life sentence because very few people actually get life sentences when it's not a case of murder. There are lots of offences where life sentences
And even then, you don't
books.
necessarily get life.
Even then, that's right. So we're not necessarily going to be looking at a life sentence for Cameron Bowen if he does plead guilty, if it does go through the way we've talked about, because again, this is an allegation at the moment. But for the next one, and the one after that, and the inevitably bigger fish, worse one that is going to be out there that the AFP's Joint Anti-Child Exploitation Team is going to find at some point, because we're seeing these cases get worse and worse and worse in terms of number of offences, number of victims. You've got to have that on the books ready for when that bigger fish comes down the pipe.
Hey, speaking of laws being reapplied and readjusted, Just Lawful, you're turning your attention to something that I think is, if not going to divide opinion, will certainly energise people, and it's the way in which adult laws can be applied to children.
Yeah, when you're a child and you commit what we think of, when we all tend to think of in the community as an adult offence, murder, drug trafficking, gun running, these are all real examples, terrorism, threatening to blow up a school, all those sorts of crimes. When you do that crime, how are you sentenced as a youth? How were you sentenced? How are you sentenced since legislative amendments have come in? What does that mean? And as we always ask on the show, these outcomes are lawful, sure, but are they just as well? Is this commensurate punishment and sanction and rehabilitation for youths who are committing the sorts of crimes that we talk about regularly on this show for adults and say, you know, this is beyond the pale?
You can listen to Just Lawful on Sunday evenings or via the podcast, of course, too, wherever you get your podcasts. Well, they just search for Just Lawful?
Yeah, just search for Just Lawful Podcast on Google.
Good stuff. Good
Excellent,
on you, Sean.
mate.
Great to have you back in the studio.
Good to see you
Good
again.
to be back. Thanks, guys.
It's time to check traffic until your new BMW arrives. Adelaide BMW will help keep your current vehicle fuel. T's and C's apply.
Thanks. We've got a few showers passing through, so take it easy on the drive to work today. But outside of that, not looking too bad. A few works at Brooklyn Park to keep in mind. Gas connection activity there, Henley Beach Road near Airport Road. In the Parklands, Rundle Road is closed between East Terrace and Kettleville Terrace. That's for the Illuminate Festival. And Woodville works on Woodville Road between Port Road and the railway line. Busy right now, Southern Expressway at Tonsley. And we've got a camera, Black Road at O'Halloran Hill. Don't miss the Drummond Golf half-price store-wide clothing clearance. Starts tomorrow. No exceptions. Shop in-store or online at drummondgolf.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Cars. We love them. From the 4x4 that takes you off-grid to the convertible sports model for long coastal drives. Or your pride and joy that you love tinkering on every weekend. Whatever car you love, eBay has everything you need to look after it. With Australia's widest range of car parts and accessories, all at great eBay prices, you'll find any car part you need, no matter what you're looking for. Find it, buy it, fix it on eBay. Everyone's a winner.
Escape winter with a Holiday Wonders day tour. Enjoy Showtime Wednesdays. Take a cosy coach ride through the hills to Mount Barker, see a classic movie and dine at Auchendoric House. If shopping is more your thing, head to Harbour Town and enjoy a buffet lunch at the Watermark. The Holiday Wonders escorted day tour to Monado Safari Park is a great day out. Or why not take their Adelaide Surrounds Mystery Tour? Call Holiday Wonders Mitcham today. holidaywonders.com.au.
Jason Clark from Simons Clark Logistics talks about One Solution and how they streamlined his business.
We were lacking an integrated approach to our IT. We needed support and to future-proof our business. Security was also a concern for us. One Solution assessed and designed a new reliable, failure-safe solution for our business. Combined with the local help desk, IT support at Simons Clark is now in a great position for the future.
Visit onesolution.net.au, winner of the National Telstra Customer Experience Award.
If you want to build a new home, something that reflects you and your lifestyle, then you really need to speak with Beechwood Homes. And just so you know, they won't try and sell you a house plan. In fact, there's no house plans until you tell them what you want. So go for it. Start thinking of all the possibilities or get in touch with Beechwood Homes for a few thought starters. Life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home. Google Beechwood Adelaide.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Credit Union SA bonus savings account. Open your account and you could be rewarded with bonus monthly interest. Consider the T's and C's.
11 to 8, John Blake shortly, breaking at 8 o'clock. The Lord Mayor and Magda Zabansky coming up in the next hour of the program as well. We've had so many terrific calls, though, this morning. We asked you to tell us your experiences with the ambulance service, good, bad or otherwise. We don't want to hear just the horror stories. A lot of people have been saying, hey, I called up. They turned up within 2 minutes and the guys were terrific. In fact, to a person, every text we've received and caller has said the ambos themselves are always great. It's just the process sometimes that's a little bit lacking. Linda in Sandy Creek, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for calling me back. Look, my husband was not well on the 4th of May, and I was a bit unsure of what was going on. I thought I needed to take him to hospital, and because of the horror stories I'd heard, I had considered that, but I called an ambulance. They were at our place within 5 minutes. They were exceptional with the way they handled the problem, and my husband was taken to hospital very quickly. And he was treated exceptionally well by the outpatients and also the emergency department, and he ended up having 17 days in the ICU, and I cannot fault if any treatment he had the entire way through.
That's a great call, Linda.
Yeah,
and we're very pleased to hear that he got the care that he deserves. It sounds like they did a great job in that case.
They did. I can't fault them at all.
Well, good on you, Linda. Thank you for calling us to let us know. Peter in Aberfoyle Park, what was your experience like?
Yes, mate. On Monday, the 1st of this month, I had a fall and I called the ambo at 6:13 and they arrived at 8:15. And that's only just up the road from Flinders.
Well, that sounds all right, mate. Yeah, were you happy with it?
8:15, 2 hours it took.
Oh, it took 2 hours?
Yeah.
It took 2 hours and you're only, just minutes away from the hospital, and it took 2 hours to get there?
Yeah.
How are you going now, mate?
Oh, I'm still sore, mate.
Yeah, take care of yourself, Peter.
Yeah, good on you, Peter. Thank you, mate.
One more. Dave in South Brighton, good morning.
Morning, guys. Just over a year ago, our son was involved in a serious accident. We received a call from the scene from one of his mates. By the time we got there, there were, I reckon, at least 4 ambulances there, if not more. He had very serious injuries. They got him to Royal Adelaide. It was a month in ICU. Absolutely magnificent surgeons. We weren't sure if he'd live or die for a while. Rehab out at Hampstead, all that sort of stuff. He's now off surfing. So
wow,
he's fine.
Good on him. That's good to hear.
But just our feedback on the hospital, because we had a lot to do with my mum and my son last year with hospitals. The staff there are fantastic. The ambulances are doing all they can, but usually it's the back end, so it's the rehab, the follow-ups from the hospital where the hold-ups are. We were forever waiting for beds in the following spots. Like my mum had to go to a stroke unit. There was a 3-week wait. There was a rehab but wait of 5 weeks. So 5 weeks he took up a bed where he should have been in rehab. So it's not the hospital beds, it's the beds further down the track.
That's a really good point, mate. I was talking to someone in the know about this the other day, and they said at the moment COVID's obviously a big part of freeing up beds. But one of the other things is a lot of people who are on the NDIS end up being hospitalised and staying there, and they once they're in the hospital, they can't always get them out.
Yep.
Because it involves NDIS management plans and all that sort of stuff. So there's a lot of log jams for all sorts of different reasons.
Thank you, Dave. Text as well on the Automasters text line. Sarah says on the 4th of June, my 17-year-old son was knocked out, fractured his cheek playing footy at Nord Oval. The ambos arrived within 15 minutes of the call. The paramedics, Adam and Brad, were absolutely brilliant, taking care before we left the Oval to check him thoroughly before transporting him to hospital. They stayed with us on arrival at the Women's and Children's to hand him over to medical staff care there. Really feel for the paramedics. It seems the hospital system is broken. Paramedics are amazing, and that's to a person. Everyone has feedback in saying that.
Conversely, you get stories like Amanda's. My 82-year-old dad with dementia had to wait 1.5 hours for an ambulance. He was struggling to breathe with COVID, and then he was ramped for 5 hours.
Yeah, but I think the point I'm more making with those calls is that the paramedics themselves, people universally say are great.
Oh, 100%.
It's just the process that they're forced to work in that doesn't work.
Exactly.
Which is, I guess, why it was such a compelling campaign during the state election.
Certainly was. Just asked the former Premier.
Yeah, that's right. 8223 0000 our number, or you can text us on the Automasters text line, or if you're watching along on the Credit Union SA Facebook or YouTube live stream, you can leave us a comment there. It's time for some John Blake. Thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast 13 13 64.
And now, Premier of South Australia, Peter Malinauskas, with another tip for real happiness.
If you want to be happy for the rest of your life, Peter Malinauskas has some advice. All of his dreams have now come true, because he doesn't have to ask the CFMEU.
This is Premier Peter Malinauskas with another tip for real happiness. If you want to be really happy, break financial ties with the CFMEU. That way you'll have the freedom to get on with the job of being leader of the great state of South Australia. Guys, just hang on. I'm trying to, to get on with the job of leading the great state of South Australia. My government will soon legislate that all political donations from individuals, businesses and unions will be illegal. That way we'll no longer be indebted to any group or individual, and so the suggestion of favouritism can never be used as a weapon against us. Guys, do you mind? Just bear in mind that if the Liberals and Independents don't support our legislation, then it's not my fault. That kind of makes me happy too, in a different way.
If you want to be happy for the rest of your life, Peter Malinauskas has some advice. Give him some money in a big brown sack. At least you know eventually you'll get it back.
More from John Blake coming up after 8:30 when we go behind closed doors. Coming up after 8 o'clock also, 5AA's food, fuel or the footy. What have we had? We've had one for fuel, one for footy. In terms of the
no food yet.
No food yet. So here's the way it plays out. You just need to be the first caller through when we tell you, which is not now, it'll be after 8 o'clock. And you can choose between $200 worth of food, $200 worth of fuel, or a night watching Port take on the Crows in Showdown 52 with a $100 dinner voucher, with more stores close to home and everyday low prices. Great food lives at Foodland, the mighty South Aussies. It's a terrific prize, and we'll be giving that away after 8 o'clock this morning.
See that Woolworths are banning plastic bags. They've announced that over the next week
banning?
and a half,
you can't even pay for them.
They're totally getting rid of them. And Woolworths do those sort of more heavy-duty ones. They're going to go paper, which costs 20 cents, or the green canvassy ones, which cost 99 cents. But the double-handled, the one with the wide handle that you get at Woolworths, they're completely banning them.
Does that put you at a competitive disadvantage, would you think? Or is there enough sort of people out there that...
I think a lot of people find it quite annoying.
Yeah, I would.
Well, if you do a massive shop, like, if you've got a family with two kids, you might have to do a weekly shop where you'd end up getting 8 bags worth of stuff. Are you going to spend $8 on green canvas bags? And what if you've got, say you buy a kilo of Omo and you buy 2 kilos of potatoes... And, maybe you buy, a big thing of dog food, big 5 kilo. Is a paper bag's sturdy enough to hold all that stuff? So do you have to add, I suppose you can reuse those green canvas bags, can't you?
Yeah, you can.
But I think it means more people who shop there are going to have to get much better at reusing those heavy-duty canvas bags. You're not going to spend $8 extra on those bags every time you shop.
No, that'd be ludicrous. 2 to 8, 5AAA News coming up, breaking 8 in a moment.
Come on in.
We open our doors to people we trust and care about. And for over 85 years, South Australians have been opening their doors to Rest Haven. In turn, we've been opening doors to an easier, better life at home. From personal care to help with the shopping and social outings, you'll welcome the care that Rest Haven brings.
You want to shut out the wind and rain in winter, or the sun, flies and mozzies in summer, but you don't want to sacrifice your view. Then you need Phantom Screens. For protection from sun, wind and rain all year round, Phantom's SA-made outdoor motorised blinds can span up to 12 metres wide. They offer effortless automation, a blind that's there 1 minute and gone the next. From the hills to the coast and everywhere in between, choose Phantom Screens.
Get inspired online at phantomscreens.com.au.
Rainy day, it's cold outside, it's going to be that way for a few days. It's the sort of day where you think, oh, something hearty, a stew or a goulash, the kind of thing that fills the belly and warms the soul, David.
Bit of coq au vin.
Bit of
polo cacciatore. Maybe a bit of beef bourguignon. You're right, Will. Pasta, soup, stews is absolutely perfect winter fare.
And look, if you want to cook with the best ingredients, one ingredient you want to avoid is the trihalomethane.
Yeah, nobody likes them.
No.
Trihalomethanes, they're just one of the nasty things that Puritap filters take out, leaving you with the best, most beautiful tasting water.
And right now you can get a Puritap, David, from just $49 up front. That is incredible value.
It's insane. No argument from me. I've got one. Get a Puritap from only $49. It includes the excellent designer tap. These are things of true elegance. Installation and filters for 2 years on a great payment plan.
Drink beautiful water and cook with beautiful tasting water. Call Puritap on 133502 or go to puritap.com.au. T's and C's apply.
City Discount Tires. Get saving this month at City Discount Tires. When you buy 3 Wild Peak AT3W all-terrain tyres, you'll get the 4th tyre free. The perfect tyre for your next adventure. City Discount Tires are a proud multi-tyre and wheel brand retailer offering great service at great prices. Visit citydiscounttires.com.au to find your nearest store. City Discount Tires. We're driven by value. City Discount Tires.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Showers and 15 today with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Turn your dreams into reality with the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery. There's more big winners than ever before.
An alleged drink driver has been arrested after hitting a parked car in the eastern suburbs. Police were called to West Terrace at Beaumont just before 11:30 last night, following reports of a collision in the street. The driver, a 34-year-old man, wasn't injured in the crash but refused to do a breath test. Senior Constable Matt Brown has told David and Will he's been charged with driving under the influence, refusing to comply with breath analysis and hinder police.
He was issued with an automatic 12-month loss of licence notice. He was bailed to appear in court at a later date. So both the cars were damaged and needed to be towed from the area.
Grab your umbrella as you head out the door this morning. Showers have started to fall across the metro area with up to 10 mils forecast today. Simon Timke from the Bureau says the rain should start to clear later tonight.
During Thursday, we'll end up with a long fine break from the early morning through till mid to late afternoon when we'll see some showers redevelop. So probably some sunshine in this as well. So a pleasant day at times during Thursday.
Olivia Newton-John is said to be farewelled in her hometown of Melbourne with a state funeral. Victorian Premier Daniel Andrews says her family are being offered the service in honour of her work in the entertainment industry and her cancer advocacy. Olivia's niece, Tottie Goldsmith, has told Nine they will say yes.
We will, on behalf of not just our family, but I think Australia needs it. She's so loved, and I think our country needs it, so we're going to accept it.
The Retail Association is calling for the return of the Great State Voucher Scheme amid rising cost of living pressures. The program offered discounts on hotel accommodation, tours and dining across SA. Chief Executive Dominique Lamb says it would be a win-win for businesses and customers.
We know that the Great State vouchers were an incredible hit when it came to attracting more people to South Australia and certainly getting them out and about shopping with our local businesses. It was really about providing incentives for people to come to those locations. So we'd love to see them reintroduced because we know now is an incredibly tough time.
139 new species have been identified by the CSIRO in the past year. The discoveries include insects, fish, plants and frogs. Scientist John Pokonowski says identifying new species is a complex process.
You get the DNA results and have a close look back in the collections, and that could be years later because you could be collecting 200 or 300 species on a research voyage, and you just need to pool all the data you have when you get back.
Britain is facing more heatwave warnings, with London looking at water restrictions. UK correspondent Brett McLeod.
Temperatures in the next few days are likely to reach the mid-30s, leading to a very rare amber alert for the UK's southeast. While it's not forecast to reach the record of 40 degrees last month, the heat will be over a more prolonged period, prompting fears over health, particularly for the elderly. and a warning transport could be disrupted. With southeast England experiencing its lowest rainfall since records began, millions of Londoners are likely to soon face a ban on using their hoses.
And the fashion world is paying tribute to Issey Miyake. The groundbreaking Japanese designer has died from cancer at the age of 84. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
New Mitsubishi Triton with 10-year warranty, 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Adelaide Chairman John Olsen says he isn't focusing too much on whether a class action will be brought against the club over the club's 2018 pre-season camp. The issues surrounding that camp have been brought to the surface following the release of Eddie Bett's book and subsequent comments from both Josh Jenkins and Bryce Gibbs.
The so-called class action, that's a hypothetical. I just deal with the facts that are on the table that I can see and address, and that's exactly what we're attempting to do.
Carlton captain Patrick Cripps has failed to overturn his two-match ban for a high bump, while West Coast midfielder Tim Kelly was also unsuccessful in trying to overturn a one-match ban for a sling tackle. That was against Crows midfielder Sam Berry. To tennis now, and Serena Williams is set to hang up the racket at the end of the US Open. The 40-year-old will have one final chance to equal Margaret Court's record of 24 singles Grand Slam titles. Meantime, Alex de Minaur and Ajla Tomljanovic are both through to the second round of the Toronto Open following impressive wins. The breakaway Live Golf Tour has reportedly secured the signature of Australian Cameron Smith. British newspaper The Telegraph reports he's signed a deal worth more than $140 million. Australian basketball legend Lauren Jackson has been named in the Opals World Cup team 9 years after her last appearance. The cricketing world is mourning the loss of iconic former umpire Rudy Kurtzen. He died after a car crash in Cape Town, aged 73. Meantime, in a T20 match overnight, Ireland beat Afghanistan by 7 wickets and with just the 1 ball to spare. And there's been a stack of European Champions League qualifiers on this morning, and a great result for Scottish side Rangers. They smashed Union St Gilles 3-0, advancing on aggregate 3-2. They'll now play against the Netherlands side PSV Eindhoven for a spot in the Champions League. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Got a few passing showers at the moment, so did take it easy on the driving this morning. At Woodville, we've got construction works to look out for too. That's Woodville Road between Port Road and the railway line. One lane closed, does get pretty slow throughout the morning. Brooklyn Park, gas connection works continue there. Henley Beach Road near Airport Road. And we're busy South Road at Karauta Park and also Churchill Road north at Cavern. Cameras keep an eye on Candy Road, O'Halloran Hill and Fitzroy Terrace at North Adelaide. Go pre-owned and enjoy the same feeling you get with a new Toyota. Vehicles are tested and backed by Toyota. Toyota certified, pre-owned and a class of its own. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
3 out of 4 people never hear back from interviews. Shouldn't people matter more than that? Zoom Recruitment.
Showers 15 today, showers tomorrow 16, Friday showers continuing 14. Right now it's 12 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Credit Union SA Bonus Savings Account. Open your account and you could be rewarded with bonus monthly interest. Consider the T's and C's.
7 after 8. Like this text on the Automasters text line in the context of a conversation around the future of plastic bags at supermarkets. They seem to be endangered given what Woolworths are doing. Someone has said people who get a single onion, put it in a plastic bag, are as bad as the people who don't put their trolley back. I think there is an increasing number of people who don't put trolleys back.
I thought that yesterday. I was reversing out at Foodland and there was a trolley next to my trolley and I jammed them together and put it back in the corral. But yeah, who doesn't do that?
But I reckon they're increasing number. That's one of those category of things that used to fall under the catch-all common courtesy, assuming that was common, and I'm not sure it's all that common anymore.
Well, often you see young people, and particularly women, out there slugging it out in the car park with like 30 trolleys in a row that they've gone around retrieving.
Yeah, absolutely. Good text, Automasters text line 0448 08 1395. Magda Zabansky coming up in just a moment. A new show premiering on Channel 9 tonight after the verdict. It's on 8:45. We'll talk to her about that. It's an interesting sort of concept, this crime drama. We'll get to that in just a moment. Then after 8:30, the Lord Mayor, Sandy Verschoor, will join us on 5AA Breakfast. But first, some breaking news.
Well, there were a few eyebrows raised last week when the University of South Australia announced that it was reintroducing a mask mandate, telling all of its students and staff, the many thousands of them, that if they were going to lectures, if they were going to shoots, if they were holding any types of meetings, they would not be allowed to attend university unless they were wearing masks. I've got to say, you'd be hard-pressed to think of a fitter, younger, healthier and better educated, therefore more highly vaccinated group of people than everybody who works and studies at the University of South Australia. So at a time when overwhelmingly, I mean, most of the students have probably had it by now and have got through it fine, the fact that at the suggestion of the Chief Medical Officer, Professor FIVEAA, the uni went so far as to mandate masks, invited a bit of discussion, and I think also raised a few eyebrows at the government level too. Well, the good news for those students who don't want to have to sit there all covered up while they're trying to read and learn and talk to each other is that a circular went out yesterday from the Vice-Chancellor saying that the mask mandate has now been lifted. Students at the university and staff at the university are no longer required to wear masks. They are still strongly recommended, but they're not compulsory. But one thing the uni hasn't dropped, and there's a broader question here, particularly at a time when young people are paying record amounts through HECS to study, is the Uni of South Australia is still persisting with study from home. So all lectures are online. I reckon that's a great con that the unis are, across the board are pulling on. The idea that your university experience now involves you waking up, pulling on your tracksuit pants and turning on your computer and sitting in your room all day watching lectures for degrees that are costing you like $20,000 a year is a total disgrace. It's not what universities are meant to be. But, you know, the mask mandate for now is gone. And I've got to say, love this headline, front page of today's Australian, an exclusive by Natasha Robinson. Worst of COVID is behind us. Australia has seen the worst of the COVID-19 pandemic and future waves of infections are likely to be smaller with less severe disease, top infectious disease experts say. This isn't crazy libertarians saying it. This is the people who study epidemics, pandemics. They're saying because we're so highly vaccinated and because most of us have had it anyway and we're getting that herd immunity and we're hearing stories of people who've had it and say, this was vastly better than the cold I had.
To your point on universities, it's a good one now because it's lasted a long time. This is not just a temporary measure, it's been an ongoing one. Has it been cut to fees anywhere?
No, they've gone up.
So overheads have gone down. There's not been reflected in any way in kids paying HECS. They're going to be paying for the rest of their lives.
They got jacked up massively about 2 years ago. That's a total rort. Total rort.
12 minutes after 8. Break behind closed doors coming up after 8:30. But first, let's talk TV. Let's talk what's on the box tonight. 8:45, starting on Channel 9, new show After the Verdict, starring our next guest, Magda Zabansky. Magda, good morning to you and welcome to 5AA Breakfast.
Good morning to you as well.
This is fascinating, this concept. Oh, sorry, you go ahead.
Oh, yeah. No, you go. I was just going to say, how you going?
Yeah, no, we're going well. We're going well. I like this idea because I feel like we've done, ever since Perry Mason, we've done plenty of courtroom dramas. We've done plenty of investigative pieces and police solving crimes and whatnot. But precious little about what happens to the people that make the decision after a court case. This feels like fertile ground and maybe something we haven't seen before.
Well, that was the thing. When the writers and producers told me about the premise, I thought, that is a great premise. I've never seen that. Like, how it actually impacts on people. Do you have a nagging doubt, like, did I make the right call? And, did I feel pressured by the other jurors? And, it's a huge responsibility. And I've never done jury duty. And to be honest, I think it's unlikely that I ever will, because how weird would it be to look up at the jury and there's Sharon Strzelecki,
particularly if you're wearing your netball bib.
Oh yeah, and I would. When they had the selection process, don't worry, I'd be wearing the bib. But it's also, what was fascinating too is that you get these people from really disparate backgrounds who are put into this absolute pressure cooker, especially if it's something serious like a murder, which is the story with this one. Or if it's a possible murder, or did she jump or was she pushed, And so when it's an intense situation like that, and you're not allowed to talk to anyone, you can't talk to your partner, your family, so you're just forced into this, very intense situation. And then it's got the sort of, it's got that, which is really interesting, like what impact it has. It's also got the humour, but it's also got that sort of delicious Sherlock Holmes, the game is afoot, once they start to actually start sleuthing themselves. So it was, really fun to do.
It's one of the weird things about the Australian legal system. It's not like America, where you see jurors holding press conferences and doing book deals and going on chat shows. Like, no one's ever allowed to say anything to anyone about it, even after a trial is over in Australia.
Yeah. Well, these jurors are a bit naughty. They're flawed, but basically good people. But yes, I'm not for a moment advocating that others pursue their line of vigilante sleuthing. But yeah, look, I think it's really important that you don't have that you don't contaminate the process is really important. But I also, I've got a lot of friends who are really high up legal people, and when you listen to them, just the way that the rules of the game dictate what the truth is. Like it's like that terrific play Prima Facie, where they talk about the game, the rules of there's the legal truth versus the truth, and they're not necessarily the same thing. And I think we all have this hunger to know what the real truth is. So, yeah, I totally get the impulse, basically. But I'm saying don't do it.
Yeah. Magda, this is obviously a crime drama. I'm interested in the context of your career and where you're at the moment. What do you find takes more out of you in terms of a role? Is it a dramatic role or a comedic role?
Oh, look, this is actually quite there's quite some emotional stuff in this. But I love doing that. I really like to get in. I love variety. I've written books. I've been on stage, theatre, advertising, film, you name it. And so I really do enjoy having a variety of things that I'm up to. And it was great actually to do some drama. And those scenes were played mostly with Virginia Gay, who's just she plays my fiancée. Because I also should add, I'm playing a Polish lesbian butcher. So, of course, typecast as usual. But as if
you're in good company here, Magda, because Will doesn't tick all of those boxes, but he's Polish. So you're talking to a fellow Pole at the moment.
Well, can I tell you that I actually gave my grandmother's name is Lenchevsky or Lenchevska, and as a tribute to her, that's Margie's last name. And I spoke a few words in Polish. Yeah, first time I've spoken Polish it's so weird. Like a name like mine, it's so bloody Polish.
Yeah.
So it's really, well, Sharon Strzelecki's Polish too, of course, but. So it was really great, and it was great to do those drama scenes. And Virginia Gay she's such a beautiful actor. It was so great to work with her. But no, I loved it. I really loved it. I found it really. I like to be challenged, and so it was great. And they wrote some terrific scenes. So there's, and it's because that whole thing of like everything that's bottled up when you're doing those sort of intense emotional jury. The stuff that you're seeing when you do those things is full on. So yeah.
It sounds like a fascinating show. Love these things, like sort of 12 Angry Men type, courtroom drama and getting inside questions of guilt and culpability and maybe I should have done this. So we're looking forward to it, Magda. And we loved having you on the show too. Magda Savansky, After the Verdict on Channel 9.
Yeah, thanks. Lovely to chat. Okay, take care.
Cheers, Magda.
Bye now.
Good on you, Magda. It's tonight, 8:45, bit of an odd time. It's sort of not on the half hour, but 8:45 p.m. tonight. You can watch it on Channel 9 and, of course, 9 now. It's 18 minutes after 8. Time to check traffic until your new BMW arrives. Adelaide BMW will help keep your current vehicle fueled. T's and C's apply.
Thanks, Will. Got a few passing showers, so take it easy on the driving today. And look out for a smash at Mitcham. It's on Old Belair Road near Blythewood Road, causing delays both directions. Woodville, your fire construction works continuing. Woodville Road between Port Road and the railway line. And the Parklands, Rundle Road is closed between East Terrace and Kettleville Terrace. It's for the Illuminate Festival. Getting busy South Road at Mile End with cameras today. Candy Road, O'Halloran Hill, and Fitzroy Terrace at North Adelaide. Hungry? Head to a Porto for the Bondi Burger Box. Double Bondi Burger, 2 crispy chicken strips, snack chips, drink and dipping sauce, just $16.95 at a Porto. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Tim Ginniver now joins Stephen Rowe every afternoon for the New Look 5AA Sports Show.
Chairman of the Adelaide Footy Club, John Olsen. John, tough time for the club.
Yes, it is, but it is what it is, and we'll work on it and get this right.
Will you listen to your fans? The vast majority that we hear here and in the streets, they want Mark Prosciutto out.
Rowie and Timmy G.
Well, that's not on the agenda.
4 p.m. weekdays on 5AA.
Speak with One Solution and they'll tell you cybercrime is not a big business problem, a government problem, or a small enterprise problem. It's everyone's problem. Ransomware, malware, and adware remain the #1 threat. One call to One Solution will put your business in a safe place. It's the smartest, most cost-effective business decision you'll ever make. Get in touch with One Solution, winner of the National Telstra Customer Experience Award. onesolution.net.au.
If you want to feel great about the milk you pour in your tea and coffee, over your cereal, or in your smoothie, make sure it's from the FIVEAA Milk Company. Because it's a great feeling buying from people who love SA as much as you do. 3 words make all the difference. FIVEAA Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it. Whew, feel like a cuppa now.
FIVEAA Milk Company, celebrating 15 years of SA business. FLurioMilkco.com.au.
Now, if you're fitting out a workshop, your shed, rooms around the home, or maybe you want a garden bench like mine in the garden, forget the flat pack, go Sharman Shelving all the way.
Now, here's the thing we love about Sharman Shelving. Take it from someone who's spent weekends assembling children's furniture and is sick of instructions.
Still in therapy, Will.
Those booklets are made to be... They're deliberately obtuse, aren't they?
Oh.
They're designed for you to have a bad time.
I put together a flat pack desk from a retailer that I won't name. I almost burst into tears. I opened the box, there were about 9,000 pieces.
Not at Sharman Shelving. It's not flat pack, so you're not going to sit there wasting your weekends. Instead, you're going to be putting stuff in your brand new, sensational Sharman shelf.
I didn't have to put anything together. They just turned up.
Well, this is what they do.
Just put it over there, thanks, guys. And I went, no worries, it's still there and it still looks brand new. Call Sharman Shelving. They'll come out, they'll give you a free measure and quote, then deliver, and if needed, assemble it all for you.
But if you're a bit of a gun at putting it all together and you'd like to have a crack yourself, they're more than happy to accommodate you, and they'll give you all the support you need.
When it comes to storage solutions, everyone needs a little Sharman in their life. 412 North East Road, Windsor Gardens, sharmanshelving.com.au, or take a look on Facebook.
Need a forklift? Don't just get a forklift, get a Toyota forklift. Toyota is the world's #1 forklift brand with a great range of pallet jacks, walkie stackers and reach forklifts right up to their leading Toyota counterbalance forklifts. Legendary reliability and safety with cleaner, greener electric options. Toyota can tailor the right forklift solution for you. It's all part of the Toyota Forklift Advantage. For more, visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au. Get a Toyota forklift.
An average of 83 people die on Australian rail lines every year. Ask yourself, do I pay attention when I cross rail lines? The answer might surprise you. Stand back, look up, stay rail safe. A message from the Government of South Australia.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide, for Adelaide. 9 News.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Whatever you're saving for, get there quicker with a Credit Union SA bonus savings account. Please consider the T's and C's.
22 minutes after 8, it's time to play 5AA's Food, Fuel or the Footy. You can choose your prize. This is great. We don't usually get you to choose your prize. You just get what you're given. But this one is different. 8223 0055 is the number. First caller through gets either a $200 food voucher, $200 fuel voucher, or a night watching Port take on the Crows in Showdown 52 with a $100 dinner voucher. With more stores close to home and everyday low prices, great food lives at Foodland, the mighty South Aussies. Getting a couple of texts through from following on from break at 8.
These are good.
That are unbelievable.
Hey, chaps, talking about Uni SA, my son had an exam late last year and was told he had to do it at home on his laptop with the camera on, and was warned that if he looked away from the screen, he'd be considered as having cheated. It was absolute rubbish. Get the exams done properly if you're going to put in such a dumb rule into play. No saving on fees for students, but huge savings for the unis thanks to COVID.
Yep.
Janet says, totally agree with you about universities. My daughter's studying at Flinders. All lectures are online. Some tutorials lately have been online. Today's tutorial's online because the lecturer has COVID. Beside the fact that students are still paying huge amounts of money to watch lectures on a screen, they're missing out on the social aspect of learning with others. Who knows if the uni is just reusing pre-recorded lectures year after year and saving themselves a lot of money. Good text, Jana. And actually, I got a text from not on the Automasters text line, but just from one of my friends saying that his son is doing philosophy, and he's the lectures that they're watching were recorded in 2019.
So you don't even need to employ a lecturer anymore, really?
Hit rewind, play it again.
That's shocking.
Well, it's commonplace.
That is That is a rip-off.
Yeah, totally.
Because surely part of the benefit of going live in person or having it unfold in reality is to say, this thing that's happening right now in the world, we can look at it through the lens of this philosopher or this like you contemporize everything. You don't just say, here's one from 1977.
I've got the strongest memories of a few lecturers at Adelaide University in the late 1980s, people like Paul Nursey-Bray, who lectured about radical thought in politics, Marxism and anarchism, Professor Austin Goff, who talked about the reconstruction of Paris, lectured us about the Paris Commune, all of that amazing sort of 19th century French history. And Trevor Wilson, a superb historian, who only died about a month ago, one of Australia's best World War I historians. He wrote a book called The Myriad Faces of War. I remember the line in that, the last word any dying soldier said on the Western Front was mummy. It was just
That's
so
chilling.
powerful.
Yeah.
Didn't matter what age they were, mummy. But you'd go to their lectures. In fact, I had friends who weren't studying those courses who came to a couple of the lectures to watch them. The one Austin Goff did about the plan to rebuild Paris, it was like seeing a play. And now we've replaced that for 10 times the cost with Zoom in your spare room.
Bit of news coming through from SAPOL. Police emergency service are at the scene of a 4-car crash on Old Belair Road at Mitcham near High Street. No reports of serious injury, but traffic is affected in all directions. SAPOL are saying please avoid the area if possible. So it's a 4-car crash, Old Belair Road at Mitcham near High Street. Sophie's the first caller through from Sefton Park for the food, fuel or the footy comp. Sophie, good morning to you.
Hi, guys. How are you?
We're good, thanks, Sophie.
Good, Sophie. What are you going to pick, do you reckon?
Excellent. Oh, well, I know what I'm going to pick, but they're all three are amazing, but I would love to pick the fuel. That would help out so much.
Oh, that's interesting.
Absolutely.
That's the second fuel
Another one
we've
for
had
the
this
fuel.
week. Good on you, Sophie.
Not a bad time to use it at the moment, too. It's sort of...
It's a fabulous time to use it, yeah, so that'd be great.
Hang on, Lucy wants a bit of celebration. Here we go. There you go. Fuel coming your way, Sophie.
Fabulous. Thank you, guys.
No, our pleasure, and big thanks to Foodland as well, the mighty South Aussies, for putting that up. Man, I help out our listeners as well. $200, go a decent. Well, I filled up this morning, and because I saw in the $1.60-ish, $1.60 range. We'll have a fuel watch for you after 8:30, get you across where it's cheapest at the moment, but that feels reasonable. And I reckon now we're in the process, we're getting close enough to the excise coming off. You've got to start timing your fill up. You want to run out just before it comes off and fill up.
Does that instantly become a headache for Albo?
Oh, absolutely it does.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Completely.
I wonder if the Libs will say you should extend it. I reckon they will. Why wouldn't you?
What's
nice
the
cheap,
downside
it's a nice
for
cheap
them?
Shot
yeah,
from
they can
opposition.
Say, this guy came in saying he was going to help out the cost of living, slapping a tax on fuel. I mean, it's a cheap political point because everyone agrees it's like a measure. No one's ever said take off the fuel excise.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. Yeah, I can't imagine Peter going, oh, look, let's go easy on Albo.
Yeah, fair enough. No, fair play. Government's not easy, you know. That's right. 27 after 8.
Saving for this? Maybe some of this? Then you're going to need one of these. Sorry, we didn't have a sound effect for a Credit Union SA bonus savings account, but we can give you up to 2.5% per annum interest each month you make a deposit of any amount with no withdrawals. 2.5%. What a bonus. Save your way with a Credit Union SA bonus savings account. Consider the terms and conditions before applying. Interest rates are subject to change.
Gliderol has manufactured and installed garage doors in SA since 1974, and their commitment to quality is as strong as ever. So if it's time for a new look for your house or time to upgrade, why not now? Order a new roller door, sectional door or customer designer door with operator by December 30th and you'll receive a free premium operator upgrade and 2 bonus handsets. For a free measure and quote and helpful advice, search Gliderol today. Retail customers only, T's and C's apply.
There's something you should know about SportsMed. We don't just provide knee, hip and shoulder care to elite athletes. Every day, we treat patients who simply want to get play with the kids fit, brisk walk fit or gardening fit. And having our clinic, hospital and specialists all based together at Stepney makes getting care for your joint pain and injuries, from diagnosis to rehabilitation, even easier. So get back to doing what you love. Speak with your GP for a referral. sportsmed.com.au.
20 years ago, Toyota set the standard for hybrid vehicles with the iconic Prius. Today, they're still leading the way with their Toyota hybrid technology for a cleaner, greener future for all Australians. Jarvis Toyota is Adelaide's home of hybrid. They can get you behind the wheel of your own small, medium or large sedan or SUV with best-in-class fuel economy. Work towards a better future together with Jarvis Toyota. South Road, Clovelly Park, Adelaide's home of hybrid. G'day, it's Mark Bickley. Schools, councils and businesses all over South Australia choose Leader Computers for very important reasons. Leader is local and exceptional value. No matter what happens, Leader can be on site to fix your problem. No overseas or interstate call centres to deal with. Plus, Leader Computers is a 100% owned and operated South Australian company, offering fast same-day delivery and setup. That's why so many organisations rely on Leader. Google Leader Computers to find your closest Leader reseller.
If the team at Lamar Homes were magicians...
Hey, presto!
They'd be terrible at it. Because they have nothing to hide. When you build with Lamar Homes, there's no secrets, no smoke and mirrors, and you can view your home at any stage, just to make sure you're happy with everything. Some builders won't let you do that. Not Lamar. lamarhomes.com.au. Here today, home tomorrow.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Showers and 15 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Your ticket to live mortgage-free in Somerton Park is here, thanks to the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
Olivia Newton-John's family will accept the Victorian Government's offer of a state funeral. Niece Totty Goldsmith has told Nine the first thing to do is decide on a date.
I'm going to be talking with the Premier today, and my brother Brett and I will steer it, and we'll get everyone involved, John and of course Chloe, and we will make it absolutely beautiful for her.
Not good enough is how the state opposition has described the latest ambulance ramping tragedy. An investigation has been launched after the death of a 47-year-old man at Plympton on Monday. He'd pulled over on Anzac Highway and called 000 complaining of chest pains, but paramedics were ramped, took 40 minutes to get to him, and he couldn't be resuscitated. Shadow Health Minister Ashton Hearn says it's proof the health system is really struggling.
We of course welcome the investigation that has been launched to get to the bottom of how this possibly occurred, and we want all of those results and findings to be made public.
An alleged drink driver has been arrested after hitting a parked car east of the city. Police were called to West Terrace at Beaumont late last night. The driver, a 34-year-old man, wasn't injured in the crash but refused to do a breath test. He's been charged with a string of offences. Free lunches will be provided to the most vulnerable school children across the state under a new program launched by Foodbank SA and Variety SA. More than 100 schools have registered for the program so far. Variety CEO Mark McGill says initially it will benefit more than 4,000 young people.
One of our great mantras is that we want children to be able to achieve their potential. Now, if you're hungry, the basis of you being able to concentrate goes out the window.
The state government is being urged to reintroduce the Great State Voucher program to help businesses and consumers in this economic climate. The scheme gave South Australians discounts on accommodation, tours and dining across the state. The Retail Association's Dominique Lamb says it would help many.
There's no better time to introduce this scheme, especially when we have a look at all of the things that are happening at this time to businesses, whether it's increased in wages or superannuation or the cost of fuel. This is exactly what they need. They need customers, they need people spending, and this is a great incentive.
A broken printer is being blamed for passport delays interstate. The printer is at the Australian Passport Office in Melbourne. The latest delay comes after some travellers earlier in the year were forced to wait up to 15 weeks for their documents to be issued. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
10-year warranty and 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
And with everything footy, here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Yeah, let's begin there. Adelaide will be without forward Josh Rochelle for the rest of the season because of a nagging hip injury. The 19-year-old played 13 games in his first season. Defender Luke Brown will also miss the rest of the season because of a knee problem. It's a similar issue for Tom Cleary at Alberton. The defender ruled out for the final 2 matches of the season. Carlton, meantime, will be without their captain for the last 2 home and away games. Patrick Cripps, that suspension has been upheld, while West Coast midfielder Tim Kelly also had his 1-game ban upheld. Well, Cameron Smith is set to become the latest golfer star to defect to Live Golf, according to reports in the Telegraph newspaper in Britain. It comes a day after another Australian golfer, Cameron Percy, said both Smith and fellow Aussie Mark Leishman was set to join the breakaway tour. The Telegraph reporting the deal is worth around 140 million Australian dollars. Smith was asked about the reports during a media conference ahead of this weekend's PGA Tour event.
If there's something I need to say regarding the PGA Tour or Live, it will come from Cameron Smith, not Cameron Percy. I'm a man of my word, and whenever you guys need to know anything, it'll be said by me.
And just following up on that, you being a man of your word, you know, the Telegraph is reporting that you've signed and are going. Would you like to say yes or no to that?
I have no comment to that.
Serena Williams has announced she'll be retiring from tennis at the conclusion of the US Open. The 40-year-old is just 1 title shy of equalling Margaret Court's record of 24 majors. And Alex de Minaur has produced a brilliant first-up win at the Toronto Open, beating Denis Shapovalov in straight sets. Fellow Aussie Isla Tomljanovic also had a win on the women's side. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Got a few passing showers at the moment, so take it easy on the drive into work today. Look out for a few collisions. One at Mitcham, it's on Old Belair Road near Blythewood Road causing solid delays, and another one at Belair, also on Old Belair Road. It's near James Road causing delays as well. Renown Park, there's a breakdown on the north-south motorway near Torrens Road, and we're getting quite busy at the moment, South Road at Karata Park. Cameras, King William Road, North Adelaide, and Cross Road at Middlebank. Keep warm this winter with up to $800 off Bonaire ducted gas heating, or up to $1,500 off Fujitsu reverse cycle. In stock this month only at Mannix Air Conditioning. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA weather.
3 out of 4 people never hear back from interviews. Shouldn't people matter more than that? Zoom Recruitment.
Showers 15 today, showers tomorrow 16, more showers Friday 14. Right now it's 12 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Whatever you're saving for, get there quicker with a Credit Union SA bonus savings account. Please consider the T's and C's.
24 minutes to 9. The Lord Mayor, Sandy Verschoor, is in the 5AA Breakfast studio with us. Just before we get to the Lord Mayor, though, I think we should keep going with some of these texts, because we've hit on something here with breaking at 8. There is a lot of dissatisfaction with high-priced uni education in South Australia and the manner in which so much of it is now recycled, online and out of date.
And it's coming from within the unis themselves. What about this? As an employee in a health faculty at the Uni of Adelaide, I can confirm that lectures are being recycled year after year. It's a disgrace, in my opinion, considering how it is consistently preached to the students that they always need to stay up to date with the latest evidence. And one here, just a phone call off air from a UniSA staff member who wishes to remain anonymous. As a casual staff member, we were told with less than 24 hours to move all teaching online. It was an extra 6 to 8 hours added for us, totally unpaid. And then we were given less than 24 hours once again to move back to face-to-face teaching. It's not just the students, but also the staff that upper management doesn't understand. Another one here, my son started uni studies at UniSA in 2020. He had 1 lecture face-to-face, then COVID began, and that was the only face-to-face lecture he has ever had. It's just absurd.
So Rima says he's 3 years of uni life. He'll only had 1 lecture live, and he's still paying the exact same fees. That's the bit. I think everyone gets the world's been a bit different.
Yeah,
but how you can up fees at the same time as you're providing less of a service is unconscionable.
How is it that you can have a similar regime at unis that you've got at aged care homes? Like you and me are the same, mate. The thing that landed us here in the 5AA studio, for me, it was hanging around with people going, let's put out a student newspaper.
Well,
Let's go and review plays. Let's write about how there's a lack of lighting on campus that's resulting in women being attacked when they're doing lectures at night.
I did a uni radio show on the basis of my mate and I sitting around waiting for lectures to happen, and we thought it'd be a good idea. If we sit at home in our lounge room, that might never have happened.
Yeah, we've got a special guest in the studio who's put a hand up. She wants to get involved in this.
I keep jumping in. It's like,
yeah.
Sorry, Lord Mayor.
No, absolutely. I did, radio FIVEAA or what it was, and, at uni. And my youngest is at uni, and I just look at what she's doing with all the courses online and goes in for a couple of tutorials. That's not uni life.
Yeah, totally.
That's not what we had. And I actually studied with Paul Nursey Bray and did that course.
Did you really?
Yeah.
The radical tradition.
Yeah, radical tradition in terms of Marxism and anarchism. Yeah, my father was terrified. He didn't know what was going on.
You're being radicalised.
Well, it was. I wanted to understand the other politics.
Totally.
We've got such Western politics, and so I read the Communist Manifesto, and I
might have stood you in good stead for the city council.
Well,
did you go down there?
Thank you. But I also know what stood me in good stead was I also did a major in psychology and
that would have come in handy the last
cognitive development in behaviour. So.
Did you buy your copy of the Communist Manifesto, Lord Mayor, at the Third World Bookshop in Harley Street?
I did.
Me too.
I did. The Third World Bookshop was I got so many things there, but I also did things like phrenology and studying bumps on your head and all sorts of amazing things.
That was such a good bookshop.
It was a great bookshop. Yeah, I do miss that one. So
have you needed a copy of Engels on the German economy or something at 10:30 p.m. on a Tuesday night? That was the bookshop for you.
And so my library's full of sort of quite interesting tomes.
Good that we can discuss this publicly in Australia. If this was an American radio show, you'd probably be arrested for admitting that you had the Communist Manifesto.
But I do. Your listeners, I do actually understand that because it's. I feel very sorry for the kids that are going through uni. And my daughter, she actually started in February or in March, just before the COVID lockdown. So her whole experience of being at uni has been online and going back for tutorials. And I'm going, wow, what about uni life? What about, everything that we did, all the shows and...
Well, in the city context, though, if you're the publican of the Austral Hotel, or if you run a coffee shop in the East End... These are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people who would otherwise normally be in the CBD.
Yeah. I mean, she has actually made friends, which is great, but it's just the uni life is entirely different. And I loved uni. I loved uni so much. I kept going back, and doing other things because I just, it was that chance. You're learning new things, people with different ideas. Just the whole thing of who you met and who you talked with, and everybody was from different backgrounds.
Yeah.
And mind you, I did go through in that little window when education was free. Which I still think education should be free, but there you go. That's not going to happen in my lifetime again, I don't think. But and so it really was everyone from all walks of life doing just learning. It was a fantastic time.
Just got a message from someone at one of the universities who makes actually a good point on the fee-paying component of this, and it's reflected in other industries at the moment too, and it's no small part of it, and I think it's a very reasonable point, that universities are under stress by virtue of the fact there aren't international students, and it's an indication to the degree to which our universities are reliant on big fee-paying international students to bankroll operations. So that goes a ways to saying, well, this is why with overheads down and people learning away from the university, they haven't got the income stream at the moment. So it's not like they're making more. So financially there might be stresses. Now that's not...
What you punish domestic students accordingly?
Well, it's a business at the end of the day, isn't it? No, you shouldn't punish them, and it doesn't in any way take away from the point of where we're at with COVID at the moment. Do we still need to be sending the healthiest people in society at home to work? That's a different... the part of this that is, it's a lesser experience for the same money, is I think an insight into some of the financial strain that unis are under at the moment as a result of the lack of international students. Let's talk city council business, Lord Mayor. That's why we've got you in here.
Sure. Okay.
Starting with the fact that this was your last city council meeting last night before everyone goes to the polls.
Well, it's our last sort of deliberative council meeting, so that means that we can make, decisions on budgets and longer term. Once we go into caretaker on September the 6th, we can't make decisions that bind the next council, and we can't make financial decisions. So I'm imagining the agenda will be skinnied right down, and a lot of it will be business as usual. There'll still be a lot of decisions made, but it'll be things that are in train as opposed to new.
Can I ask, Lord Mayor, the big story obviously the last week at the City Council was the effective steamrolling of you guys by the state government. How did it get to the point where the council made that decision? Because it just seemed weird that for a 2-day road closure so that the Harvest Festival could go ahead, particularly in light of what you'd done with a 3-month road closure for the Illuminate Festival. How was it a political decision by the council thinking, oh, hang on, we can't upset the ratepayers on the eve of the election? Because it looked like one.
Yeah, no, there was so many things. And first of all, Illuminate, when we closed that road, we looked at all the roads. Rundle has about 9,000 cars a day. Bartels has 21,000 plus. So that's one of the main arterial roads from the east. The decision really was the cumulative impact of the closures. It wasn't about the festival at all. It was actually about cutting off the access to the city because when Harvest Festival was first approved and said that it was going to happen, we weren't sure of dates, we weren't sure it was going to land. It landed the week before the 500. So understand that was something that was going to happen before the 500 landed. And so you've got the 500 closing off the roads in the 2 weekends before Christmas, or in the lead up to Christmas, and then Harvest coming in the one before that, which means for our city traders, and they're really depending on that Christmas trade, those arterial roads are closed off for the 3 busiest weekends. So we get 5 big trade weekends, and we've closed the roads for 3 of them. Now, the impact of that is we're talking millions and millions and millions of trade dollars that comes from the eastern side of the city. About 25% of trade comes from there. And my concern was really about my retail sector, that actually, everybody's struggled through the ups and downs of COVID and things like that. The city is doing really well. They need to have a good Christmas, which will get us through, the lean months, as we call them, in January, February. And we did work with them to try and find another location. There are 29 parks in the city of Adelaide, and Benithan used to be where all the music festivals happened. I know that they worked very closely. In the end, to begin with, they weren't working at all with the 500, but they did in the end work quite closely. So they've shared things like staging and a lot of the infrastructure, which makes perfect sense. Nothing to do with the festival at all. It simply came to, can we continue to close those arterial roads 3 weekends in a row? By the time they're open, there's only 2 weeks till Christmas. In the meantime, people will decide to work from home, or they'll do their shopping somewhere else, or whatever. We actually want Christmas to be great in the city. And those going to the 500 aren't stopping to buy Lego for the kids on the way home. I know that it helps the hospitality sector, but it doesn't really help the retail sector, and they're the ones that are struggling at the moment.
Well, the Treasurer, Stephen Mulligan, had a real crack at you guys about it.
He did. Thanks, Stephen.
Was it fair? Because, you mentioned things like Benithan Park. There have been things prior to you in the history of the council where it almost looks like the council has been the problem. Things like Soundwave, things like the Oils concert where, it was almost like Peter Garrett unplugged.
I wasn't there for that one, but, to me, there are lots and lots of parks. We've got Oval number 2 next to the Adelaide Oval. We've got the Adelaide Oval. Benithan Park, Elder Park, Botanic Gardens or Botanic Park, where WOMAD sits. There's lots and lots and lots of parks that could go. And even Jess DeCrew said next year it'll be in October, which is when it was supposed to be programmed. It was a spring festival as part of Bloom, which will take the impact off. That cumulative impact. And as a city, you've got 2 different organisations, the tourism that's doing Harvest, and you've got the motorsport board doing that. We took the holistic view of all of the impacts that are happening. So we've constantly got to have a look. And we do hundreds and hundreds of events. Hundreds and hundreds. And, to be fair, there was a lot of feedback from residents and ratepayers and people, because the East End is almost, gets pretty slammed with events and things like that. And they are amazing. They love it. They embrace it. That's one of the reasons they live there. But we also, it's balance. It's just balance.
So we mentioned the elections coming up.
Yeah.
We know Rex Patrick, former South Australian Senator for South Australia, he's running.
Yes, he announced this week.
What are you doing?
Oh, I've got until the 23rd of August. That's when nominations open and they close on the 6th. I've been a little bit busy. I'm sort of clocking about 60 plus hours a week at the moment. And
surely you've thought about it, though.
And now that I've got that meeting out the way, I'll have a little think. So we had a great meeting last night. There was so much that went through. And
how long are the terms? 3 years?
4 years.
4 years. 4 more
Presidential.
years. Yeah, 4 more years.
4 years.
Get the chant going.
So
you still haven't made up your mind?
So, well, I'll talk to you in a couple of weeks. So, I think there's a lot of people out there, a lot of candidates who are, having conversations and seeing whether they're going to go, and which will be great. There's some really fabulous young people that are running.
Phil Martin's not running, is he?
I believe so. Oh, as Lord Mayor?
Yeah.
He was never going to run as Lord Mayor.
He said he was, though,
Oh,
didn't
God, I know. But come on, I had that bet with you on radio.
That's right,
and what would I say?
We're not allowed to take money anymore.
No, I know, but I think I said I'd take one of your listeners out to dinner, but anyway, no, he's definitely not running.
Hey, we are allowed to take undies, though, and you've come in with a few box loads for the undie drive for Catherine House in the Hutt Street Centre.
Yeah, that's from our staff, and it's
great.
fantastic. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Excellent.
Thank you so much to everyone at the City Council for supporting for the undie drive. We really appreciate that. We'll make sure they get a good home at Catherine House or the Hutt Street Centre.
That's fantastic.
Great to see you.
Good on you for collecting them as well.
Thank you, Lord Mayor.
Thank you. Good to have you in. Lord Mayor Sandy Verschaw. Let's check traffic until your new BMW arrives. Adelaide BMW will help keep your current vehicle fueled. T's and C's apply.
Got a few passing showers, so take it easy on the driving today and look out for a smash at Mitcham. It's an Old Belair Road near Blythewood Road causing solid delays. At Ridleyton, another collision. This one's on the North-South motorway near Hawker Street, delays inbound. And look out for a breakdown at Round Park on the North-South motorway near Torrens Road. Busy right now, South Road at Mile End with a camera at Candy Road at O'Halloran Hill. Take your home to the next level with Amart. Save big with up to $3,500 off sofas and lounges. Hurry, offers end soon. Shop in-store and online at Amart. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
With fuel prices the way they are, it's now more important than ever for your car to be fuel efficient. Peak performance means peak efficiency, and that means Automasters. Book now for an Automasters Peak Performance Injector service. Petrol or diesel, your Automasters specialist will clean and service your fuel injection system to ensure your vehicle is running at optimum efficiency. Save fuel, save money. Get the best out of your car. Call 1300 Automasters. Peak performance guaranteed.
Life-changing moments can happen in many ways. Purchase a ticket in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery and you could be our next winner. The amazing $3 million grand prize in Somerton Park is a fully furnished Scott Salisbury home and is just one of many life-changing prizes to be won. Retire early, invest, or live mortgage-free. The choice is yours. Support South Australia's healthcare heroes and join the fight at homelottery.com.au. Licence M14227.
It isn't waste until you waste it. That's the catch cry from an amazing company called Eco Waste Solutions. Eco Waste Solutions is a hard waste recycling facility, not a dump, located at Williston. They'll take everything except hazardous waste and food scraps. They'll take your waste bricks, your mattresses, tyres, soil, timber, steel, concrete and more. Plus, if you pre-sort your load, you'll receive a 50% discount on disposal fees. Google Eco Waste Solutions Williston for more.
For over 38 years, Steinborner has been well worth the trip. With over 400 used cars to choose from, you're sure to find the car you're looking for. Steinborner is your first choice for new Hyundai and Mitsubishi in the Barossa and your first choice for Ford in Clare. And don't forget, you can always click through the collection of vehicles online at steinborner.com.au. Great local deals on great local cars from your locals. Steinborner Automotive. Still well worth the trip or well worth the click.
With fuel prices the way they are, fuel efficiency is more important than ever. And that means a peak performance injector service from Automasters. Ensure your vehicle is running at optimum efficiency. Save fuel, save money. Call 1300 Automasters.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Credit Union SA Bonus Savings Account. Open your account and you could be rewarded with bonus monthly interest. Consider the T's and C's.
7 minutes to 9. Big thanks to the listeners who've called in during the ad break to alert us to a huge crash out the front of the Sturt Baseball Club on Fullerton Road. Huge delays in the Clapham and Torrens Park area. 20 minutes in most directions. So we received a number of calls on that front. Out front of the Sturt Baseball Club, Fullerton Road, huge delays, Clapham and Torrens Park area. It's time to go behind closed doors, thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight, distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast, 13 13 64.
And when we get behind closed...
SA's greatest rivalry on radio, the 5AA Sports Show with Rowie and Timmy G.
Yeah, welcome to the sports show. It's not just me anymore. Timmy Jennifer's here as well.
G'day, Rowie. Bit different, isn't it?
Well, Timmy, I've got to warn you, it might start out all right, but when the snooze mars start texting in and calling you a buckle wheel, you might have second thoughts.
Ah, well, people are entitled to their point of view.
Oh, yeah, but it can get a bit personal, and some of them don't hold back, and sometimes it's a bit hurtful.
Yeah, well, I understand that. I'll just have to take it in my stride and we'll see how it goes, eh?
Yeah, well, when the nasty stuff starts coming in, don't forget, we're a team now, and I've got your back, Timmy G.
Oh, well, that's great, Rowie.
Look, here's one already. It's about me, as usual. Hey, Ro! It's about time you had someone to talk some sense in here. See what I mean?
Oh, that's unkind.
Yeah, I know. You wait till they started on you.
I'm ready for them.
Here's another one. Hey, Stephen Crow. Finally, they're putting a stop to your crow bias. I can't wait to hear you put in your place with a rainbow scarf shoved down your throat.
Well, that's harsh.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, you wait till they start on you.
I'm ready.
Okay, we've got one here for you, Timmy G. Get ready for it and see how you handle it. Hey, Timmy G! Great to hear you on the show, and hopefully you'll put a stop to that loudmouth Stephen Crow. Oh, well, that's just 'cause you're new. They just...
Yeah, that's right. I'm still a novelty.
Here's another one for you. Get ready. The haters are out there. Hey! What a breath of fresh air to have Tim Jennifer on the show and get some balance and common sense. Or where's all the Timmy G hate mail?
Oh, it'll be there eventually, Rowie. Read out another one.
All right, because some of the hatred that comes out is really going to upset you, Timmy G.
I'll just have to get used to it. I hope I can.
Here we go from a Crow supporter. Watch out, this will be good. Hey! I'm a Crow supporter. Who's going to hate you?
I can take it.
I'm a Crow supporter, and I just love Timmy Jennifer. Even when he talks about the power, I still like hearing him on the radio. Oh, that can't be right. What's...
G'day, boys.
What's Tony Modra doing here? What are you doing here, Mods?
Just delivering this huge cake to Jimmy G.
Oh, I never got a bloody cake, and why was it delivered by a Crows legend? What is bloody going on?
They're a great combination. Timmy G and Stephen Rowe. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. And he is beloved. He crosses the divide, Timmy Jennifer.
I thought Blakey did his voice superbly.
He did. He got the laugh happening.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
I thought was,
the big
very
laugh.
good.
You need the big Timmy G laugh. It's
All
like
right.
a tidal wave hitting you.
Let's have a look at the fuel prices all over the shop this morning. Some really cheap and then some not so cheap for Fuel Watch. You can see where the cheapest fuel is in an instant with the free My RAA app. You can download it today. The On the Run Main South Road. Let's start with diesel today. We'll do it a bit differently. The On the Run Main South Road, Clovelly Park, $1.95.9. For unleaded, the ex-convenience Main North Road Prospect, $1.49.5. The Liberty South Road, Clarence Gardens, $1.57.9. And the On the Run Glenburn Road, Hazelwood Park, $63.9. See where the cheapest fuel is in an instant with the free My RA app. Download it today. Big thanks to everyone who's tuned in and interacted with the program this morning via the Credit Union SA, Facebook and YouTube live stream, or if you've texted us and called us. So many great calls about a number of issues, including the performance of the ambulance service in light of that tragic incident yesterday. Our universities with this staying and learning from home mantra at the moment, that people don't feel like they're getting value for money. Great interactions. Really appreciate it. It's been a good morning, and Leon Biner's coming up next.
There's a remarkable story on page 3 of the Tiser about a transgender man who's now a woman playing football in the Amateur Football League. We wanted to get into that this morning, but we end up with so many calls and texts that we've run out of time. We might have a bit of a look at it tomorrow because it raises some pretty interesting issues around freedom of speech and, you know, respect and tolerance, but also the rights of the women who are out there playing football with other girls and women. We'll have a bit of a look at that tomorrow, and we look forward to being here with you again.
Stay dry. See you tomorrow from 6.
You can do just about anything online. Buy a couch, find the love of your life, enter the cryptocurrency market. But there's one thing so important that you should never do